Come on, let them say ya. Come on, let them say ya. That in my business, you catching fever. Getting serious like empty river. Ain't no stopping by the river. And as we coming, we sweeping, we cutting, we moving all the way. Yeah. We coming, yeah. We coming. As we coming, we sweeping, we coming. And then when we meet obstacles, we coming. Yeah, you come man, yeah. We coming. We better than a big coming. When the year is been checking you again, cause you go a we come in. We better than a big coming. They are not so we come in. We better than come on, let them say ya. Come on, let them say ya. That in my business, you catching fever. Getting serious like empty river. Ain't no stopping by the river. And as we coming, we sweeping, we cutting, we moving all the way. Yeah. We coming, yeah. We better be coming. As we coming, we sweeping, we coming. And then when we meet obstacles, we better be coming. Yeah, you come man, yeah. We coming. We better be coming. When the year is been checking you again, cause you go a we coming. We better be coming. They are not so we coming.
And so, let me say welcome to yet another edition of the program, The Bottom Line. This program brings you information about Liberia, and we do discuss the issues from the bottom to the top, or from the top to the bottom, any way you put it. And so tonight we're going to be here with another hot edition of the program. We're going to have guests coming on tonight, 2 guests that will be hosting tonight, and we'll be discussing issues about Liberia. And you know, we're in a political season, and so it's all going to be about politics, or who's doing what, who's supposed to do what, what's supposed to happen. And so you're going to be the judge, you, the viewers. So I'd like to say welcome, and my name is Linford Gore. I'm going to have here with me Paul the Lord Chulupe, and also, like I said, we're going to have 2 guests, one from the United States of America and one from Liberia. And you will be hearing their inputs on the program as we discuss the issues. But we'll take a quick musical break and come back. And when we come back, we'll be going directly into our discussions. And I hope by the time my co-host Paul is going to be here. But let's start with this interlude of music by Takunje, and all has to do with how government behaves in Liberia.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. You gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people who us, the people lie to us, the government betray us, they betray us so much. I said they lie. The people who us, the people lie to us, the government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not know. I said we tired with their lies, we tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw it frustrate us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to beat? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, so the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the corrupt. No one to trust. My people, no one to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are the roads? Where are the jobs that they say they could afford? But they're too selfish. The people tired with their rhetoric. People tired, they tired. You see the reason why we ask why the government betray. They have enough of time, but yeah, then stay they delay. People suffer. No work for people crying for hunger. Look at. Your vision and your mission, your intention to the nation, they poor. You got nothing to show. Nothing. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, so the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the corrupt. We tired with the promises that led us to all our damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw it frustrate us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to beat? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us. You screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie.
Well, the government betrayed us. They can lie, they can steal, they are corrupt. There's just about every bad thing you think about. And you know, we're not talking about specific government. We're talking about all of the governments in Liberia. I was not alive J.J. Rabo's time, so I cannot accuse J.J. Rabo, but at least I was alive from Tokman time, Torbot, up to Doe and Taylor and Marley, and then to Brother George Weir. So you see, we all related. But it's been the same story all the time. Every government will come and promise that they will do this. They don't deliver. They will come with all of the good ideas. They don't deliver. And so it tends to be like a normal routine, okay? So the government in waiting, that's like an opposition party in waiting, is always watching the government in power as they make their promises and they don't deliver. So when the next government in waiting, which is the opposition, comes in, they will repeat the same thing because, you know, it's like the normal trend, you know, come and lie, people vote for you, you don't do anything for them, and you leave and go, and the next group of people come again. And so this is what the trend have been. But I'm expecting my guest. By the way, we're going to have like 3 guest panelists here tonight. Actually, 2 guests, one from the US, one from Liberia, and then we're going to have a guest panelist, Mr. Cyrus Gray. He's not a stranger. He's always here on this show. And then normally our people will be coming in. So, but let's play that music one more time, just a little bit, and then we'll be going down.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. Y'all gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. So much. I said they lie. The people fool us, oh. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the ball. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that left us to all our damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrates us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that's why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. So much. I said they lie. The people fool us, oh. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal.
Okay, so like we said, we're gonna have guests coming on the show. One is from the US and one from Liberia, and then we're gonna have a guest panelist, Mr. Cyrus Gray. But I'm not gonna disclose the names of our guests until when they come. And you're going to know they are very familiar people. They're people that you know already. They're people that you've probably transacted with before somehow on a friendship level or probably governmental level also. But it's going to be interesting discussions right here tonight on the bottom line. My name is Linford Goy once again, and I'm waiting for Paul Chilople, the Lord Chilople, who's going to be logging on pretty soon along with our guests. And we'll be discussing issues of national concerns right here on the bottom line. On this program, we give our views on the issues that we discuss. And like we usually say, our views may not be the facts that you want to hear, but they are our views. And then they are not wrong either or right. So it's our personal view. So do not hold us responsible or do not expect us to meet your expectations about what we say on the show. And again, like I said, is okay. Just try to put your Facebook password because that's a requirement. But like I said, we're going to have guests. Okay, and like I said, we're going to have candid discussion this evening. So we also solicit your views in a viewers comment box. You can ask questions. You can say what you want to say. The only thing we do not do on the show is we do not abuse people. We do not use bad words because we do not want to encourage that. It's not good at all. So on this show, we discuss the issues civilly, no abusive languages, no attacks on people. We don't attack people. We discuss the issues, yeah. And even at times, if the discussions will have to drag in your personality, we do that, but not on a personal level. Like, we got to denigrate people. We got to disgrace people. No, we do not do that on the show. So we're waiting. I'm waiting for the panelists to come in, and then we got to get the ball rolling. But in the meantime, I will, we have a session on the show called "What's on Your Mind." Facebook finish teaching us all the little things, the little tricks, right? So I know there is something running through my mind. So I will be discussing some of what's on my mind. I hope, or Paul, the Lord, children, Paul just came from Liberia, and Paul is still suffering from what I would call jet lag. Uh, so probably he's really, really, really lagging behind, but he's gonna come, and we're gonna have a very, very wonderful show. And tonight, basically, what we'll be talking about is something that you've been hearing. It's not a new song. It's a very, very old discussion, and in fact, people feel getting tired with that discussion. But again, in some circles, people are still raising or resurrecting that topic. People, I mean, I think it should be behind us now. It should be something that we've forgotten a long, long time ago. But people are still raising that discussion, and so we'll be reawakening that discussion tonight, and putting some life into it. And like I said, we're going to have two guests on the show tonight. One from Liberia, a prominent individual who is not strange to you or may not be strange to most of you, and one from the US. And so my man Paul, the Lord Chilo is here. We're gonna be teaming up tonight, and we can see that our guests are trying to come in one by one. One is already in the background. We'll give him a little bit of time to adjust while we are with the other one to come, and also welcome some of our viewers. You Montro Kringa, you are one of our regular viewers. We'll say welcome to you. And Paul, uh,
The great
you just came from Liberia, my man. You shining, man.
my man, I'll say what good evening from my end, and to good evening to our viewers as well. Yeah, my man, I got back. I coming from eating toboggi, palm butter, all those beautiful things over there, my man. Organic food. So what you expect?
Hmm.
After Sean.
But you see, okay, let me ask you one question. When you say this, then I get a bit jealous, and then I get a bit confused again when they say hard time in the play. Then you come from there, you shining, and you eat all the good food. So which one I will believe now? Hard time there or no hard time? Tell me.
My man, hot on there, but the food sweet. The food always there.
Oh, hard time there you can say, but people can say survive.
My man, that's the beauty of Liberia. You
Yeah, I
see,
had a friend who said, man, all the people talking about, they talk about hell and heaven. He said, God will not go pour in hell and will be hungry, and he'll get food. So in heaven, people will be eating in hell with. So
my man, in the Western world where they put the chicken can eat, how long that chicken can be in the cold storage? And like
uh,
my man, when they kill the country chicken, eating the thing, the smile just on your face.
I know,
And
right?
and our old man can cook. When they prepare the food, the taste of that food is quite different from this one. Our people can cook on the side, to be honest.
I
So
know,
when
right?
eating the food, you feel relaxed, you feel at home. You say, yes, this is home. Nowhere at home, my brother.
I know. Okay, our viewers, we encourage you to share the video to your contacts, and like I said, we're going to have a very good crack discussion tonight, and it's going to center around the politics in Liberia right now. What is happening? Who's supposed to do what? How is it supposed to happen? And all these things will be bundling all together. And we're going to have two guests on the show. One is already in the background, um, and together we'll be discussing these issues. And we're going to also have what I will call, or who I will call, our guest panelist, Mr. Cyrus Gray. He promised to join the show during the course of the show anytime. And so we also expect him if time permits. But I think, Paul, what do you think? We'll bring our guest, right? Because he's waiting in the background patiently.
Yes, why not? Bring on the guests. Or before you bring on the guests, we ask our viewers to kind of share the show to make it more interactive, and it will be good. Been a while for what 2 weeks now of the show. I'm happy to be back here So yes, let us share the show. Let's have an interaction. And I can tell you, Liberia is Liberia. We're happy to be home. We saw what it is. I had mosquito welcoming me and all that. We'll talk about it later on, but it is what it is. So kind of share the show. We here.
But did you set up the radio, or should I do that?
Well, okay, go on. I will set it up while in the process. Yeah, bring the guests on. I will set it up.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our guest, the Honorable John A. Balu. One thing I've not asked Mr. or the Honorable about the middle name A. I know that Arbor or the Army or the. Wait, I'll guess it. If from the south,
AKEL.
if from the south, no, don't try it, Honorable. I'll give you 4 guests. I'll guess 4 times, 4 guesses, and then let me see. Abbott 1, Alfred 2. Then let me know for 1 Griboni. That start with E. I can't remember 1. Okay, then maybe Army 3, and no, I stop. So, Honorable, welcome, and would you want to tell us a little bit about Honorable John Balu, what he's been doing before, who is he, and stuff like that? Because people like to know. I mean, we've been interacting. I even know much about you, your name, So I think, yeah, it's my fault. So the floor is yours, Honorable. Welcome.
Well, thank you for the interview, and no, none of the names you call are global names. All those are all English names you call it. So you stay too long on us, you don't come back with this. But my middle name is Akel. It's not a global name. But I want to thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the invitation. You always invite me on your show, and I always said to you that I will be glad and honored to appear. Because by being here, we're all contributing to the national debate on reconciliation and development of our country. You asked a little bit about myself. Of course, you probably just know the John Balut, the public figure. But yes, I'm John Balut. My father was a Palestinian refugee here in Liberia. My mother is a Grebo woman from Maryland, Grebo Congo from Maryland. Both our parents from the Congo and Grebo side. I was born in Plebo, in Maryland. I started my elementary school there. I went over to Greenville for junior high school, the St. Joseph Catholic School, and then went back to Maryland, Bishop Ferguson High School. When I graduated, I went to the University of Liberia, where I studied civil engineering. And then the war came, we all went outside. And then I got back into the country, participated in elections. And all in between, I've been doing my little business. I'm a business person as well. So even while I was in university, I was doing my business in Liberia. While I was in exile in the Ivory Coast, we were doing business as well. And we got back to Liberia, we started with our business as well. And then we got involved in the politics. And then we had to slow down on the business because it was taking too much of our time either way. And so we became the senior senator of Maryland. After the Senate, Madam Sirleaf invited me to serve on the board of LIPTACO, the Liberia Telecommunication Corporation, and also a commissioner of the PPCC, Public Procurement Commission, and then subsequently ambassador to the state of Qatar. That was my last public assignment as an ambassador. And then went back to the university. Okay, when I left the Senate, went back to the university, did my graduate studies in international relations, from the Ibrahim Babangida School. Then, of course, went back to the Foreign Service, and then I was recalled by this government in their own wisdom that they thought, of course, being someone political, and thought I shouldn't be in there. And they recalled me, and I have nothing against them for that. I congratulated the president, the government, for giving me the opportunity to serve. I was there. They didn't call me back the first year, it was the second year they recalled me. So I am grateful for that. And we come back home and we're contributing to making the country better. And when I came back, I should also say this, I came back, I went into the race for the Senate of Maryland, and that was not successful. but we continue to work with the county and the county officials. We continue to contribute to the country. Um, we avail ourselves to every opportunity, but of course, we're not sitting down, so we engage in our businesses as well. We own a couple of small businesses that we do. We help to employ people, we contribute to the economy, and we take care of our families, and we try to remain relevant in the political discussions to help guide the process.
I like that one when you say we try to remain relevant because your silence will kind of, cast or dashes or Paul. But I don't know, Paul will come in to probably talk to you, but there is just one question I wanted to ask. When you said you studied civil engineering and then you are far away into something else, politics and stuff like that. And you see, look at our country that was, devastated by war. Everything is dilapidated, and an engineer like you, civil engineer like you, should be helping to develop the infrastructure. But you're there on the political side. I want to ask you, what diverted you to politics?
Well, you are not absolutely correct when you say that because we practice engineering. We continue working in the construction area. We had our businesses. We had construction businesses as well.
Okay.
But what attracted me to the political field is that when you're sitting in a country and it's not moving forward, I mean, irrespective of whatever discipline you have or whatever profession you practice, it comes a time that you have to get involved because everything you build only crumbles in a matter of time. When the politics of the nation becomes a mess, nothing else works. So you have to get involved. And of course, you will understand that mere politicians anywhere in the world are people who just say what you want to hear and do things to get themselves elected. I mean, they will sacrifice very easily some critical values, pertinent issues or unpertinent issues. So other people got to get involved. And so at a point in time when you know that you live in the country, your children are here, then we should all get involved. And that's what I try to do. And that's what I will admonish every well-meaning Liberian to do. Don't sit on the fence. Don't pretend that it's their thing and it's my thing. It becomes everybody's thing when we start to run, when we start to fight wars, when you start to, have chaos, when you start to have crime on the increase and drugs taking over the country, increasing this insecurity, the livelihood of the people become destitute. It becomes everybody's business. There's a popular saying that say no one is safe until everyone is safe, and no one is happy until everyone is happy.
Everyone is happy. Okay.
That will be part of the whole process.
Yeah, Paul. Paul, before you inch in on the honorable, let me just welcome Madam Justina Gatti. But Justina, at some point I'll be calling you Justina Taylor because that's a name I know. And so if I do, yeah, I think you are muted, Justina. You unmute yourself. Yeah. So if
that is not my name. So I don't want people getting used to it. People only stuck that name based on my Facebook profile or having, but that's not my legal name, and that is not even on my birth certificate. So
you see, you're confused also. How are you going to do it? What are you going to do to it? Because when I talk about Justina, people say, "Oh yeah, Justina Taylor," right? So, but anyway, welcome.
You can call me Justina Gatti.
Okay,
but that's my real name. The Taylor is not my name.
Okay, I will try. But so welcome to the show. Tonight we have with us Justina Gatti, Kumba Gatti. I know that one is true. Justina Kumba Gatti and the Honorable John A. Balut. Justina is a political activist, as far as I know of, before she left Liberia to go to the U.S. And the Honorable, you already heard from the Honorable Balu. He's been a senator before and also a foreign service diplomat before. And so, Justina, welcome. And Paul, do you have anything to say to Justina or to the Honorable before going to our discussions? You are muted, Paul. You are muted. Paul, you are muted.
Yeah. I'll say good evening to our two guests here. Honorable, it's good to see you again. And once more, you've been to honor our invitation to be back here. You always come in. It's good to host you on Oh, Justino Gate, if that is right pronunciation. First time meeting you. Welcome to the bottom line. This is what we discuss, and we don't eat what the group will say. We don't eat crab with shame, and we'll have a group person here, another group person from the other end. I'm in the UK here. My name is Paul, the Lord Paul Chilope, resident in London. So it's good to have you on our show, and I'm looking forward to a fruitful discussion. It's good to have you all.
Thank
Back to
you.
Okay,
my host. Yeah.
thank you very much. And today, like I said, just before you people dropped in, I was telling the audience we want to discuss something that has become overly discussed. How people have, gotten tired with hearing about it, and people think is something that they don't want to hear. But then there are other people who are resurrecting these discussions again, and so we thought it wise to look into it. Probably there is something they see for which they try to resurrect this discussion, and it all has to do with opposition unity. Opposition unity. Um, how is it going to happen? Who should be involved? It's all left with you people to discuss. And by the way, just now I was on maybe Spoon or one of those talk shows, and I also heard you pushing for. You did in fact call on our show, and you were talking about opposition unity. Am I right? Are you in favor
Yeah.
of that? Okay, very good.
Yes.
So the two of you here, and let me just make it very clear. Which opposition party or leader do you lean towards?
When you ask me, I am a member of the Alternative
Mhm.
National Congress. I'm a member of the
Okay.
ANC,
Okay.
but I am also a product of the CPP togetherness. When the incident occurred in Liberia, it was the CPP who came to my rescue,
Mhm.
and it was the togetherness that were able to get me to where I am today.
Okay.
So I want to see that togetherness. I want to see that togetherness going forward, even though a lot of things are happening. Um, it's for me, I believe it's politics. It's almost like a primary. Um, Doing the primary, you don't expect everybody to dine in and wine with you. Sometimes you'll say things to each other, you'll get a look ahead. But what matters most is the interest of the nation. The ability for the both political leaders to be able to think Liberia first. I think to me that's what is most important to me at this point in time, and that's why I have been fighting all along behind the scene, trying to make sure that happens.
Okay. Paul, you inch in, but honorable. Let me just throw the same question to you. We've been hearing about this thing, and you're one of the front runners for opposition unity. You've been singing this song even before the division in the CPP. But now that we've gone this far with just 6 months to elections, and it seems as though everybody had dashed hope. The opposition political parties don't seem to be coming together. But then you guys are still calling for this. Do you see any possibility?
Well, from the look of things, the possibility is getting slimmer by the day. But yes, I think anything is possible in politics. Um, I'm not really deterred by the near possibility of this idea. I'm more driven by the necessity of it. I'm more driven by the fact that, irrespective of how they think, I think people like us who know what it is and what it should be, not just from theory, but from practice, we have to keep hammering that message. Because, like Ms. Gate said, and nice meeting you, Ms. Gate, like she said, it's about the country, you know? And everything that's happening so far is just a gift to the ruling party. And they're really enjoying this. So I think that is possible as I speak. I still have meetings pending with them. I'm still making my rounds. I have a meeting pending with Ambassador Boakai between today and tomorrow to follow up on these discussions. We will not give up because it is the right position we're holding. And it's not a position that is in favor of Ambassador Boakai. It is not a position that's in favor for Mr. Cummings or either of any of these other political actors. It is a position that is in favor of the future of this country. This brings not only victory, but brings leadership to the country. You see, we ought to be careful not to only think about winning. We ought to start thinking about what to do with the win. A lot of people have won elections, but what have they done with it? So it is very important to think about the part two of the journey. The first stage is to win. The second stage is to develop the country. And I think these two people with that combination of the kind of forces with the other members of the CPP, like she said, quite frankly, she's a product of the CPP. I mean, we're all products of the CPP by way of our mindset. With that kind of a CPP arrangement, of course, the country will move forward. Of course, the development we all yearn for will be achieved.
Paul.
So the question is possible. It's still possible. Anything can happen. We
Right.
just have to keep talking. And the people around them need to keep talking truth to them. Sometimes you're surrounded by people who only want to say what they think you want to hear. And I mean, unfortunately, I'm not in favor of that. I mean, people need to speak truth to power. They need to speak truth to each other, to the political leaders, from their own sound assessment. Right now, as we put it, I had a couple of interviews, probably 2, 3 on your show. There's a group of young people that you called me that you wanted this interview as a follow-up because you have heard them mention my proposition, my proposal. Why do you think a young group of young people from all these political parties, opposition political parties, who are members, who are proud members of these parties, still come together and tell you, say, this is the way forward?
Maybe you call on them to do that because that's a message you're pushing.
No, I didn't. I called on everybody to do that. Okay, like I would call on you to do that. But if you meant that I went around recruiting them, bringing them one by one and come and do it, no. These are kids who came up and said, yes, they believe in this, and yes, they want to be part of this. They've had all their meetings. I had to attend their meetings. They have their plans. I endorse them because they're speaking the truth and in the right direction. And do I support them 100%? And I think every well-meaning Liberian should be thinking that way. But
Okay, Paul,
the leaders need to consider this.
Probably Paul got a question for you.
Well, I like this, the start of the discussion and the opposition unity that's been called for. Is it between only two leaders or is the rest of the other people that are vying for this higher seat? Because I know the likes of Sima Freeman, Mandela Cooper, Jawan Gonglo, and others. Is all of them that you people calling for to have one ticket, or how this opposition unity, how you look at it, just between two persons or the rest of the people?
I think we are not calling on some. We are calling on all the opposition bloc. But I believe the reason why a lot of people a lot of us are focusing on Boakai and Cummings because initially Boakai and Cummings and Bronskin and Ure, they all came together and they had a coalition. And I believe in my mind that that coalition was set up in order for them to split. And so a lot of happened in that CPP that split up everybody. And so our focus is that if we can be able to bring those people back together, it will be much more easier to bring the other guys along. Because they are the four there are 5 big political parties in Liberia. If we remove the ruling party, there are 5. That has to do with the Unity Party, the Labour Party, the PYJ Party, and that of the ALP. with the ANC. So if we can be able to bring these four big political parties together, bringing along Simon Freeman, Tom Ganglo, and the rest of the other guys, it's not going to be that difficult. But when we are in disarray, we confuse the people as to who to cast their ballots for. And at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that once the people cannot find that unity, out of discouragement and disappointment, they will choose not to vote. And
Right.
so the answer
But
to your
probably,
question is the
I
answer
think
to
the
your
honorable want to
question, the
address that
answer
question
to your
too.
yeah, the answer to your question is that we focusing on all the opposition to come together. But we got to start with the big ones.
Right. So you want the big ones to come together because there were unity there before. But isn't that the same unity that was there when it came to going to the primary, and then they took another person to go to prosecute him? And how this going to play out? Who? So let me put it this way: do we already want a better Liberia? If we want a better Liberia, the opposition unity that we're calling for, is that we're just calling for it to remove George Weah, or what is the agenda that we're looking at to to have this better Liberia that we've all been dreaming about? It's just to put somebody together and go remove someone. Is that what we're looking at here, or the better Liberia that we all aiming at? If we're looking at a
Okay.
better Liberia, then where is the opposition unity? We have people with different platforms. They can be 50 people running. We get 5 million people in Liberia. Why the 5 million people cannot decide who would be the best person to lead the country? Is it forced to have these people together to have a better Liberia? You can have one
I,
party who change the narrative in Liberia. Why should it have to be opposition unity at this time? And we try that. We know what happened. People want to quote ruling party against opposition party stood against another opposition. How you guys think this going to work?
to
Well,
answer
that
your question, I think it is important for the Liberian people to play a major role into what we want Liberia to become and how we want to see it become. And no country can develop if we do not have a proper collaboration. What we're doing is that we look at the platform, and we look at the the agenda of each of these political leaders. We look at the plan for Cummings wanting to build Liberia. We look at the plan for Boakai wanting to build Liberia. We come to realize that they both have the same plan. We look at Tom Gonglo. We compare it with that of Cummings and Boakai. We come to see that they all have the same plan. Then we look at that of Yomli Kanga and that of Delon, and not Delon, or that of Ure. It also tells us that they got one thing in common. What they don't have is that the connectivity, something to connect them, something that can connect them and hold them together. Liberia cannot be having over 20 some more political parties. We need to cut it down to at least three or four. We need to cut it down to three or four. So I started this advocacy of cutting down too much political party in Liberia. I started that since 1997 when Taylor was contesting. And at a certain point, I slowed down and I just got distracted, and it is good. I'm back on track. So if you look at all of these political leaders' platform, they all talk about development, human resource, development, human resource, um, a lot of other things that they talk that are all in common with each other platform. So what we're trying to do is that we look in between them. We say, look, if Mr. Cummings have this kind of plan and Boakai have this kind of plan, why can't we bring them together? If Tomo Gonglo have this same plan, why can't we bring them together? So imagine a government, for example, I'm setting an example. I said, for example, imagine a government where you have Boakai president, Cummings vice president, Tomo Gonglo minister of state. You get my point, right? You have all these guys that have this presidential ambition. You bring them on board, and then you set up the cabinet with them. I think when we can arrive at that point, that's the only way Liberia can move forward. Because from time
So let me
immemorial,
cut
it,
you.
it have
Let me
always
cut in
been.
here, Justina. Burka as president. Why it can be Taiwan president? Why it can be
I
Cummins
just
president?
use
Why
the
does
war as
it?
an example. I just said
Example,
example.
yeah. Okay,
That's what I said. I said
I
for
just want
example. So
clarity. Thank you.
you can't choose who I choose as an example. I
No,
said for
I just
example.
wanted the clarity. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now
I
let me
said for example.
provide.
So
Let
that's what
me
I
Okay,
said.
so
For
let me
example, if you have all these senior people that contesting for presidency, you bring all of them on board, and then you set up a government where every person who is contesting for presidency having to play a major cabinet role. Because, for example, um, if Tonwo Ganglo is good in justice system, right? If you bring him in your cabinet and put him at the Ministry of Justice, or you put him as Chief Justice, you can be sure that the justice system will be transparent. Okay, if you have Sima Freeman for the best, for example, he is good in business management. If you put him at the Ministry of Commerce, you will know that yes, he can do something. For example, if you put because of Mr. Barker's age, but if you put Mr. Barker as the UN ambassador, right, he can bring in the deliverables from the United Nations. If you put Mr. Cummings as vice president, he is properly seated because the vice president run the day-to-day activities of the president. He represents the president in the legislature, in the judiciary, and also outside. Most of the errand government go to do, sometimes the president don't go. It is the vice president who go in most of these cases to do the arrangement, do the negotiation. So what we are fighting for is that we want to see a better Liberia. It's not all about just these politicians always coming, playing trick on us. They will act like they're fighting, but they're not fighting just to get our mind confused. And at the end of the day, we vote wrongly. And that's why we're saying, no, this time around, we want to stick them together. We want to put them together. If they truly believe that their mindset is to help the Liberian people, they gotta let go their ego and think the better Liberia, the future of the young people. No political party in Liberia can win election without having a collaboration. It happened to the then Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. It happened to George Weah. Is going to happen again. There is no single political party can come on the feet with your ideas and you kick out everybody's ideas and you think your ideas is the best and you think you're going to win. It needs collaboration. You got to
okay,
have a
Honorable Balu,
collaboration.
you want to address that question?
Well, that's to go to Mr. Chilupe. You say, why do you think the opposition need to come together? Why they have many parties? One party can just go ahead and win. I would just say this: it depends on the perspective you have. It depends on your intention. It depends on what exactly you want. It's like saying to your child, a 5-year-old child who doesn't want to go to school, why should you force the child to go to school? I mean, he can just as well not go to school and still become somebody in life. He can be a good carpenter. He can be anything without even going to school. I mean, where we are today, for those, you say you were just from Liberia, and you had your own fair share of experience back here. This country, like every country on earth, has great opportunities to grow. Why is Liberia not growing? Why are Liberians not growing? It's leadership. And when we are where we are, considering all of the difficulties and political complications, if we don't change the scenario now, the political reality now, I mean, there's no telling what this country is going to look like a few years from now. If you look at the statistics, unfortunately, we don't even have the kind of statistics to make these arguments. But how many people are here without jobs? I mean, just listen, just every day, the government officials themselves, the ministers, they are striking. I think right now it is the Ministry of Transport, and I saw a Ministry of Lands and Mines people the other day, every day. Before that, there were Ministry of Information. People are claiming that they are making what? $75? They don't take pay. You're cutting their salaries down since we carry it up. How many people are dying just from lack of basic medication? We put all these clinics across the country. We were funding them. They have medication today. None of them have medications across the country. The schools, the health. I mean, the security of the state. the prospects for the young people, if you listen to the interview, the press conference of these young people, they said they too themselves deserve the right to grow in a society of peace and opportunity. They're envious of all the other kids around the world. Why should it be? So if you see a country is faced with this kind of harsh reality, then there is a there should be a very strong determination to change the story and the narratives. And how do you do that when you have a united opposition? And then,
Mr. Saros,
and then you said another question he asked them: why does it have to be Bwakai and this? And look, I will say this to you. Right now, whether you like it or not, whether you understand it or not, Bwakai is the most popular opposition figure. Bwakai is the most experienced of all these politicians in the race, including the president of the republic. Bwakai has the highest credibility record that you can go back to. He is someone who has passed the test of time. But Bwakai, in all of these advantages, he is far ahead. He is the closest to the crown. Why? And that's why Bwakai has to be, so that we don't go designing and reinventing the wheel at the 9th minute or the 11th hour. Why do I insist on Cummings? Cummings is the second most popular political figure in the country. And besides that, with all of this political experience and expertise and knowledge and things that Bwakai has and competence that he brings to the table from his service, Cummings, I said to people today, is the most competent of all these political actors today striving for the presidency. This man comes with everything that Liberia needs to transform. We have to realize that we should start playing politics with our lives. Google, Coca-Cola Global, the people net worth, $267 billion net worth of Coca-Cola. That's what this man was second in line managing, global. Don't take someone like this for granted. Don't take Bwakai for granted. This man said all his life, and I will conclude quickly so you will come in. These are people that like many of us in this country who feel strongly and I support them strongly. These are people that we have seen have reached to the cream of the society. Cream of the society. So Cummings represents the future of this country. Bwakai is the man that can make it happen today, not Cummings. But Cummings can make it happen tomorrow. And Cummings is needed to make it happen tomorrow. The economy we speak about today, that's Cummings who's going to fix it. The accountability system, the discipline, the structural adjustment, that Cummings who has that kind of a discipline, he has it, and he's passionate about it. And we should not quench this fire. This is exactly the kind of fire that you need. This is the fire that is described and referred to as passion for change. That's why we should hold on to it. So yes, that's why Bwakai has to go as a presidential candidate, and that's why Cummings needs to be there as a vice presidential candidate, so that when the next question you ask, for the question you ask, when you win, is it just to win, or what do you people want to do? That's where leadership comes in. So it's not just a popularity contest as it has been reduced to in this country over the years. There has to be a popularity contest with essence, with substance, with a part two to the popularity contest, which is actually doing the job. Election is only asking the people, please give me the opportunity to do the work for the country. So once given the opportunity, you then have to do the work. And like I said to you, Bwakai is the man of the day, Cummings is the man of the future. Liberia is safer with these two.
Right. So Bwakai is the man of the day.
Hold on. On the question.
I want to say something first. I want to follow up. Bwakai is the man of the day, Cummings is the future. I mean, we've been around for long, and I think I can vouch for myself. And I live Africa, America, Europe. and I'm seeing elections in Africa, in Europe, in America. Do we all that sitting on the platform, do we really mean well for Liberia for Christ's sake? Now, what am I saying this? As I'm getting to retirement and Linford could be younger than me and come up with the best idea, and he has served all over the world. And you, because of my age, that I've served one place, as you already said, that coming is the man that will drive the economy. Why can we push that line for a better leader, young person who have that vibrant energy to drive Liberia to this 21st century? Why should it be somebody who already in retirement, as young as like you, Senator? You could lead Liberia. Why should it be somebody who going into retirement? Because he's popular. If he's popular, then we should not call for opposition unity because he will drive the thing. So let them go and have the contest. Whoever wins, win. If the people decide, say, oh, George Weah is the man, they're doing better off on him, they should put him there. If they decide Boyka is the one to lead us into that direction, the people should decide. In the last election,
Can I come into that?
3 million Liberians did not vote. Why can you advocate for those 3 million Liberians to register today, yet they make the decision and put who is the best person then to call for an opposition unity that we have not even looked at the platform of Mr. Boyka or Mr. Cummings or Tewan, all of to see this person having the best platform to run with. Why can we propagate that then to keep calling for opposition unity? The opposition had a unity, they took another man to go to prosecute him. And
So
now
let me
in
answer
a
you.
dime second, we want opposition unity. I don't understand, my fellow Liberians.
So
Where
let
are
me,
we
All right, can I come in?
I
no,
don't.
one second,
Can I
please. Let
come
me
in? Can I
answer
come in?
you.
Can I
Let
come
me
in?
answer.
Okay, before you guys
Can I
come in,
respond?
Senator Balu
Let me
and
answer
just now
you.
before you come in, let me work on Saras.
Let
Saras
me
is
say, oh, sorry.
yeah, Saras is a guest panelist here. Probably has some questions too. So Sarah, welcome. Do just say that you want you in the more.
Live for first thing. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you,
Yes.
but I think our hearing some echo. Maybe you have a receiver or something like that. Oh, you are clear. You
You
are
stay
clear.
you stay hearing the echo, or you can hear me clear now?
I think I'm still hearing myself. Let me talk. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm okay. So Senator Balu, you can.
Right.
No,
Let
the
me
echo
say
is still
this
there.
that first and foremost, I never said that Ambassador Boyka only has to his advantage his popularity. No. I said Ambassador Boyka he's the most popular person, and beyond that, he's the most experienced. He has first-hand knowledge of this country more than any other politician. He has more access to.
There is still echo.
Yes, I'm hearing it.
Yeah, if anybody has a monitor on low, close it totally.
Hello?
Yeah.
It's better
Yeah,
now.
better now.
So he has his competence, he has his experience, he has his knowledge of the working of the government, he has his integrity intact, and he has the largest share, by far the largest share of the opposition bloc in terms of popularity. Now, you have made it very clear on let Cummings go, let Boyka go, and let the Liberian people decide. To answer that, Mr. Cholope, I will only say this. Do you know or do you remember the story in the Bible with Solomon and the 2 women with the baby? Yeah. Both of them claiming the story, the child. And of course, not to sound repetitive here, we all know the story. Who owns the child? The other one say, yeah, it's mine. Solomon said, cut it in half. Yes, sir, go ahead, cut it. The other one who owned the child said, don't cut it in half. Mr. Cholope, I will not say more to you about this, but according to you, let's cut the child. And I don't think that's the best interest for you. Ask us today, which one of us on the platform loves Liberia? If we all claim to Liberia, if we claim to love Liberia, you will not say cut the child. That's where I stop.
Okay.
Okay,
Cyrus?
to just come in to what the honorable just said. Let me say this. Let me use the parable that our old folks use in Lofa. You got two children, and none of these children are your biological children, but they all care for you, they all love you, they all do whatever you want. The both of them are there for you. And then you got only one piece of luck, and the government said you got to get it luck to one of your children or we will sell it. What would you do? Will you let the government take the inheritance of your grandchildren from you? Will you choose one person over the other? Or will you put the land in the care of the both of them, knowing that the both of them are capable? You see, Cummings is well connected internationally, but I'm an ANC member and I'm a realist. We don't have what it takes on the ground to win an election. You need to know that the fact that even Ellen Johnson Sirleaf had other collaboration with her, she had Pray Johnson, she had a lot of people on her side, they still could not win the 51.1% vote in 2005. So they went to runoff. It was in the runoff that she won because other people that supported George Weah, she won them over. Now, for me, I'm a realist. I look at things from a very positive perspective. I don't just look at things from the negative side. I agree to the fact that, yeah, things happen. I agree to the fact that Mr. Cummings was accused as fingering the document, but I look at the facts. The fact is this: did Mr. Cummings as an individual change anything on the document? No. You see, when people say this person did this, and that's one of the things Liberian are suffering from. Understanding is our problem. We always misinterpret. When you are in charge of something and anything happens under your administration, you take the blame. I don't support Mr. Ure taking Mr. Cummings to court. I was against it. I spoke against it, and I still stand my ground. I did not support them going to court. I supported them withdrawing the document and then changing it. I did not support them going to court. But you and I should know that after all of that have happened, Cummings still visited Mr. Bakai. They took a picture where they were kicking each other foot. So it tells me they are friends. And I can assure you on this platform today that Mr. Cummings and Mr. Bakai, they talk, they are friends. And so they should stop confusing the mind of the Liberian people. And when it comes to the percentage, there is no way the ANC, even if the ANC collaborate with 50% of the Liberty Party and another 50% of the Liberty Party go with Yumli, there is no way that the ANC is capable of soliciting support to take us to number one. That means to be over the Unity Party and then facing George Weah in the first round. Don't forget, the Unity Party is ahead. Liberty Party is there. The Prince Johnson Party is there. Other political parties that have higher vote than the ANC are still there. They didn't disappear. They're not telling you, they're not contesting. So all of these votes are going to be split. The more political candidate we have, the more the vote splits. Now, the CTC have consistently maintained 27%. Consistently maintained 27%. She won the gun election because she had a collaboration with the MPP. And the MPP is still in the collaboration with her. So we have to take this thing into consideration. Except these political leaders want to tell us that they are playing some kind of a game that indirectly they are supporting George Weah to suffer the Liberian people while they benefit from George Weah undercover. But I see there is no reason why they cannot reunite. There's no reason they cannot reunite. If Cummings and Boakai decide that, look, you know what? Let bygone be bygone. For the sake of the Liberian people, we want to collaborate. I don't care what other political party be thinking. As long that is what the majority of Liberian people are yearning for, that means that is a victory ticket.
So, Justina, before Cyrus come in, if Barker decide not to run tomorrow, with that ticket you're talking about, with Labrin Poste, what would they say if the other men decide
Okay.
not to run tomorrow?
If Joseph Barker decide tomorrow
Yeah.
that he no longer contesting, so in
Yeah.
that case, then we now have Cummings. We now have Cummings taking Barker position. And if Barker is not contesting, Barker should be giving his support to somebody.
This sounds more like a correlation.
What I'm
Like, okay,
saying
Barker
is,
Gale, and then
you
you
guys
pass it
study
to
for
Kwame, and then you know, like football
opposition
game.
So what become of Taiwan? What become of Simon Freeman? What become of the other? Their vote will not be divided as well.
You see, something you're not understanding, my dear.
No,
Simon Freeman have contested. Let me clarify this. Simon Freeman have contested in the Liberia presidential election since 2005. He have been contesting. He have not even won 5%. In fact, 3%. He have not gone nowhere. He always below the 1%. Okay, Tonwan Gonglo have tried at 1, and he did not reach 1%. They all under the 0 point something percent. Yeah. So they are under the 0 point something percent. What we're looking at the major political parties that consistently maintain a percentage. That's why I'm drawing my line from. I'm looking at the percentage we made.
That's why I'm graphing out too. So yes, Cyrus coming. Prince Johnson
party, Cyrus, number. I think you've been in the cinema for long. It's time for you to act now.
Yeah. Welcome, Cyrus.
So, let's try again. You still got an echo?
No, it's okay. Perfect.
Okay, first of all, let me say hi to everybody, especially Senator Balu. And I first will start with really thanking Senator Balu and applauding his effort. He has been the tip of the spear trying to bring the opposition groups together. And what he has been trying to do makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to make a couple of comments here and I'll be open to the discussions, right? The first thing I'm going to start with is that at least I know for certain, because I had a conversation with Mr. Cummings probably about 5 days ago, that union between Mr. Cummings and Ambassador Barker is not going to happen. So we got to put our head around it. And the case that Mr. Cummings made to me makes a lot of sense to me. Apart from the issue of the CPP document stuff which went to the court, which for real create a trust issue, right? Put aside that. Let's talk for a minute as Liberians who are conscious and concerned about the governance in our country, because we're dealing with two things right now. We're dealing with one, election, winning the election, and two, governance. I know we are so fixated in trying to remove George Weah from the picture that we are focusing more on the winning the elections part. We're not really looking at, so the animal that we may create to win George Weah, how does that animal governs? Now, I say this to say that if you understand the Liberian political system and the laws, we have an imperial presidency. No matter what kind of deal you enter into prior to elections, our constitution gives the presidents, in most cases, absolute power. I'm talking to a senator here who knows that. And also, people who run for office are not individuals. They are running with a group of people behind them who have different interests, who have different governing philosophy. And I'm not saying it in a negative way. If a guy wants to be president, that the sense is that he thinks he has a model that he wants to use to be able to create good for the country. So in most cases, 2 presidents, 3 presidents running for presidents don't have the same way of governing. And they don't have the same sets of people who they're going to trust to do the work for them. So why is good to create this kind of coalition that we are fighting for? It's complex when it comes to the governance side. I agree with Councillor Balu 100% that if Ambassador Barker and Cummings and their teams push one ticket, we'll probably win George Weah in the first round. In fact, we've seen examples of it already when the CPP was together. All the candidates they fielded, the candidates won. But I can tell you, for example, a guy who the ANC brought to that CPP ticket called Taylor, he won in Maryland, Cape Mount County as a senator. What is he today? He's a CDC member. So winning is one thing, but the governance side is another. And to the extent that people use their resources, their time, their influence to make him win, to be senator in Grand Cape Mount, nothing stopped him from going to say he joined the CDC after he won. So my point is, whatever deals that you're anxious to make to win the election is not guaranteed at all. Now let me come back to some substance, and I will give Councillor Balu. I know he very passionate about this. I hear he says, I personally believe that we need a radical change in Liberia, and I support the Cummings candidacy because I think the Liberian people, all of us, need somebody who is not too attached to us. Because we are embedded in that chieftaincy system. In fact, I just learned that word from my man James Vaudier, who came on my show on Sunday. And the LACC guy, I never thought about it, but he said, "Look, think about it in Liberia. Why we are not very harsh on people who do wrong? Why is it corruption? We see, oh no, that's not correct, but we live with it." He said because embedded in our DNA because of our history is that sense that once you're a big person, we'll cut you a slack. Once you're a big person and you do something wrong, people will compromise with it. And our society has been running on that perception for a long time. Ambassador Barker, personally, is a good person. He's probably an earnest person. But he has significant disadvantages. Significant. One of them is the fact that he does not have the energy, which has evolved because of natural age. The second thing, he has entrenched relationships that, whether we like it or not, will influence the way he makes decisions. Why do I support Mr. Cummings? Because I have some personal issues with Mr. Cummings, and the decisions he made between he and myself allows me to make that judgment. Mr. Cummings will deal with you on the basics of what you people agree upon. Even if at the end of the day it's to your disadvantage, he will still be your friend, but he will hold on to that decision. It is easier for a person like that to do that in Liberia because he's not part of the political culture. He doesn't know too many people in so much way that he don't owe anybody anything. That's one. The second thing is that Mr. Cummings has the capability in governing big institutions. The third thing is that Mr. Cummings, what we need in Liberia right now is a big boost to our economy. Our war has prevented us from really raising the capital we need to invest in our resources. It has restricted us in developing capacities. So we need assistance from outside, but we need assistance from the private sector perspective. Mr. Cummings is more attractive to that. I can tell you, frankly, Mr. Cummings' wife in her house in Atlanta introduced me to Paul Kagame in his morning robe in Cummings' house when Cummings was not there. I know around the same time, Cyril Ramaphosa, who was vice president of South Africa, said Cummings was his big brother. He mentors Cummings' son, who stays in South Africa, taking care of Cummings' business interests. So Cummings know the people that matter, that could actually help us just because of him, that could create opportunities for businesses just because of him. Now, somebody will ask, but that same resource can be used while Cummings is vice president for Ambassador Barker. Is that really practical? Ask yourself one question. When the CPP was together, doing this beautiful thing. Because my sister here mentioned the issue of CPP fingering document. I mean, for those of us who know, who have gone through the documents, who went through the process, what was the issue at stake? The issue at stake, at least in the public eye, was that there's a provision of the document that the Barker Group and Bernard Ure claim that Cummings then put there that said that if you lose the primaries in the CPP, you cannot leave the group. I don't know how that benefits anybody in particular, because I'm not even coming to whether it's Cummings who put it there or whether it was there before. But in legal thing, you look at intent. But I know that was not the reason why they left the CPP. The reason why they left the CPP was basically the same thing we are here today for. One, there is a camp that has shared the view all along that the CPP ticket should be Boakai on top, Cummings the VP. Even though that was not put formally to Cummings, but that was the thing that was clouding. Everybody knew that this is a good thing, this is a good thing. And Cummings and his inner people were not agreeable to it. They were insisting that, look, according to the PPP framework we created, we will have some time for consensus building to decide, say, look, this is how we want to ticket through a gentleman agreement. That's the gentleman agreement now. Boakai first, Cummings second, or Cummings first, Boakai second. If that doesn't work, eventually we will come to a camp of voting. That means we'll call a convention and we'll vote. And each of the four parties are allotted 310 delegates. These 310 delegates will constitute the votes at that primaries. And the result of that primaries, then we should all commit ourselves to it. Mind you, my thinking is that if, as we are saying, Ambassador Boakai has the support of the people, he has the numbers, then it makes sense for him to go to the primaries, because the people will vote for him there. And if the people vote for him there, that he's a legitimate head of the CPP, he can choose to ask Alexander Cummings, say, can you be my running mate? It will make much sense. Well, the Unity Party from the beginning didn't want to go to the primary, because people start harboring a notion that, oh, Mr. Cummings got money, so maybe he will put these 310 delegates times 4 in the room. They will probably incentivize them with money. I don't want to say bribe them. And they will vote for Cummings. That was the beginning of the problem. So the Unity Party said, guess what? If we are going to the primaries, we will go there and we will vote as one block. You know what that means? They say our 310 delegates that you gave to us, they will not be voting individually. All of them will just vote for Boakai one time as one block.
One P block.
Can I comment? I don't want to cut you off.
I will let in 1 minute.
Yeah, because there are a lot of things contradiction to the framework here.
Just hold on. You have two videos that will play.
You have your chance to speak to it. Then Ure also came out and said we'll vote as one block. Now, if 2 or the 4 components of the group say they will vote as black, then the whole process is defeated already, because that means 50% of the votes already gone. Then you got now that same notion created a division in the Liberty Party, because obviously DeLong came out and Yombly and said they will support Boakai. Musa Belete, who's the chairman of the party, went the other way. That led to the breakup of the party. So obviously, the CPP concept of uniting from just how we will lead didn't work at all. So they end up going through all the legal stuff, creating distrust, and they have broken up. My point is, now they've broken up. It's been probably a year or more. Everybody's on their own, doing their own work. Why we would like to win George Weah through that easy way? This unity we've tried, it has not worked. Why are we still pursuing it? Why are we still pursuing it? If like Senator Balu said, or Ambassador Boakai has all these leadership attributes. He has the experience. He understands Liberia. He has the international welfare. And he has the people to make him president. Why does he need Alexander Cummings? Why does he need Alexander Cummings? Because what I would hope is that we will come to rest on this issue and let these people run, because George Weah cannot win 50% of the vote in the first round. He cannot win. In 2017, he won 38% of the vote. Right now, his popularity has diminished because of poor governance. So even if we were in 2017, where he had the MPP on his side, or Talos LPDB on his side, or he couldn't get more than 38%. So I can't expect that he will get it. So we are going to go to a second round. If Boakai has the numbers, then he will be one of those in the second round. So let not make fuss about this so that people can be mad at Ume Boakai and say we will not support him in the second round. So when the second round comes, now he can rally people around him and he can have the free hand to create the government that he needs to create without any incumbent saying, somebody saying he owed me to make me Minister of Finance or for me to make my people this, because we enter into a prior agreement. And the same works for Alexander Cummings. I hear everybody say, Cummings can't win. He doesn't have the number. So if he doesn't have the number, then there's nothing to worry about. Is he the one who's taking his risk? Boakai has the number, so that means Boakai will win. So let's go through the process. Ultimately, in the second round, then we can bring back Senator Balu, because what he has done, as good as it is not working. So let not make the people make fuss. When the second round comes, Senator Balu now can do the rounds and rally the people around whomever have done the work enough. And my understanding is that Ume Boakai doesn't have to do any work. The people want him anyway. So let's see how it works after October. If the people want him, then all of our power will support behind him and let him roll over. And then he will be free also to be able to create the government to solve the governance part. Give me 30 seconds. Let me tell you why I think a combination of Cummings and Boakai in government as vice president and president is not going to work. Mm-hmm. In our system, the vice president is a ceremonial role. The law is even clear about that. The president cannot even leave the vice president in charge when he's away. The vice president is there, ready to be president in case there is no president. And because of the intricacies of our politics, they try not to. If the vice president is a domineering person, if a vice president is somebody like Cummings who has a lot of money, he has a foundation that's spending money here and there, it's not good for the president. Not because the president wants to do something, but the people around the president will create the aura that this guy is making himself shine over you, because the history of Africa is replete with one thing. Once African leaders take over as leaders, instead of governing, they spend the whole time trying to make sure that they can remain there the next time. So they're always worried about the vice president and all those people. Cummings is not a vice president material. So it will not be good for President Boakai if Cummings is his vice president. Somebody may say, okay, they will enter in an agreement that Cummings will manage things. He got a contact. That alone is a problem, because that means as though there's no president, and he is the one who's shining over the president. So I will leave it at that. I will leave it at that.
Yeah, that particular point you made about that agreement. Let me play a video, and we all will analyze the video, because the video is quoting exactly Senator Balu. That's
so
why
let me address this concern that you can play your video. Can we do that?
Yeah, no, but let
me come to a Balu talk.
We'll come back.
Let's go to Balu talk.
2023, the Maryland County former Senator, His Excellency Ambassador John A. Balu Jr. addressed the prospect risks and proposed a way forward for a united opposition. He proposed the following. 1. Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai goes as standard bearer of the united opposition. 2. Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings Jr. goes as vice standard bearer of the united opposition. 3. Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence goes as president of the Liberian Senate. 4. A memorandum of understanding is signed that guarantees a significant inclusion of the all-Liberian party into the governance of the country. 5. A memorandum of understanding is signed that guarantees that Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings Jr. is the next standard bearer of the opposition bloc after Ambassador Joseph Yuma Bwaka. 6. A memorandum of understanding is signed that guarantees that Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings Jr. will choose his vice running mate from the Liberty Party. 7. A memorandum of understanding is signed that guarantees the incorporation of all opposition parties in the governance of the state. 8. A memorandum of understanding is signed on how to address the speakership of the House of Representatives. And 9. All efforts must be made to reunite the Liberty Party.
Okay, now, Cyrus, you struck that point about understanding and signing a document of understanding. And clearly, the youths, this is just part 2 of the video because part 1 I will not play because we've already exhausted it. Now, Senator Barlow, there were a lot of things that I've collected from this video. 1, the straightjacket approach that for of all democratic process, straightjacket approach that JMB goes as president. Point 2, Alexander Cummings goes as well, vice president. And then somewhere, I think point 5, where you say a memorandum will be signed that Mr. Cummings will be the next president. It sounds like, you know, the marathon people, or I think the marathon or something, where people run and then they hand the torch over to the next person automatically. There will be no contest. There will be no objection from any of the other members of the party. Everything just happening automatically between Mr. Cummings and Mr. Bwaka. You know, just the 2 of them. It's like 2 parties. In fact, 1 party just controlling the whole thing. How automatic do you think this could be?
Before Mr. Barlow come in, I don't want to forget. Before Honorable Barlow come in, I just wanted to clarify something from our honorable sitting there. When the framework document was drafted, the cloth that talk about one person should not leave the CPP in case you do not win the primary. In my mind, as an ANC person, I believe that Mr. Cummings did not do well at that point because he was the chairperson of the CPP. And if you gave me some document in my care, and maybe somebody tampered with that document and gave it to me, and I don't know about it, and then all of a sudden people are accusing me of knowing about what happened, I think what I would do, I would write the National Election Commission, I will withdraw that document, and I will put it before my friend. I say, hey, what you guys are talking about, I don't understand it. The last time we signed a document, that is what it's what about. So it was all based on the remember this document issue started a long while before it even came into the public. It was going on for over a month between the 4 of them before it could come in the public. I remember the first press conference they called concerning that was at our URE office. So Mr. URE got his blame and everybody got their blame. But at this point, how will you feel? You see, most of the people that are supporting this issue are splitting, are people who supported these DDD political leaders for their own personal agenda. Because some of them feel that when the people come together, they will not have the influence they have. Some of them advocating for Europe, for Cummings, because they want to be Minister of Defense. They want to have some position. The same thing with other people supporting Bwaka because they want to hold so strong position in the government. Our interest as Liberian people, we don't care about the job. I understand Mr. Cummings got a good vision. Mr. Cummings got a good contact. But the point is, can you tell that to the lay woman in Bapolu? Can you tell that to the lay woman in Boka Kanu? Can you tell that to the lay woman in Kample, in Chiang district, in the bush, in the forest, where they cannot even see a motorbike except for bicycle? How do you disseminate that information? How do you send that information to the people? Bwaka over the years, even before Helen could pick him, he have lived, he have set precedent, he have built his platform, he have built his mat. Okay, and for me, the reason I said Cummings should go as vice president, let me say this: before you become a wife, you must first be a girlfriend. That's the reality. No man go in the street
So
and pick a girl.
Justina, I think you made a
Let
point
me
before.
finish. Let me finish. I know. Let me
Before
finish.
Councilor
I
Balu
give
come
you the
in,
time.
let me
You allow me to talk.
just say
Yeah.
something.
Okay. Hold on.
No,
You
but
gotta
let me
take
learn.
control.
Let me
You gotta
learn. You
take
were coming.
control.
Let
Let
me learn.
Justina learn.
Just now you are
Let,
protected.
Yeah, let me learn. You were coming. So my point is, you must become a girlfriend before you can become a wife. You
That's
cannot
not
meet a
always
man
the thing
today.
anyway.
Yeah,
That's not
you
always the
cannot
thing.
meet a man today and he meet you today, he proposes to you today, y'all get married today. That marriage will not last. And any relationship that does not have a disagreement, it's not a genuine relationship. Politically, there must be a disagreement. But what matters is that it's the Boakai and Cummings. These are the two individuals that I am concerned about. I am not concerned about the how some individuals feel personally because they support it. Some people supporting Mr. Cummings because they feel that the easy way they can run up representative ticket. Some people supporting Black because they feel that the easy way they can run representative ticket. Because if the two people decide to work together, a lot of people will be dropped up for representative and senator seats. So they support the split. Some people feel that when they support Barker alone and Barker become president, that's the easy way. Let me learn now. Let me
Yeah,
learn,
you gotta
brother.
learn.
Let
You
me
gotta
learn.
learn. We know all of that. You don't need to explain it. We know all of that, but just make your
Yeah,
point.
some people feel when they support Barker, that's the easy way they can get away with the corruption. They will continue to steal in the system. Some other people feel that they have worked over the years in other countries, they do nothing, they have no savings. So the best way is to come back to Liberia and begin to live on the Liberian people. And my focus is wanting to bring these two people together. The point is, if we cannot even put them on a table, let's agree that okay, they decide not to run together. But if we cannot bring them together for them to sit down and discuss, to say, okay, you know what? Let's discuss. The Liberian people want us to talk. Let's talk. Let's give these people the guarantee that if we lost this
Let me
first
stop
round,
you right there.
if that me
Justina, please, let me
Cummings
stop
make
you.
it, you
Let
will
me ask you
support
one
me.
important question.
If we cannot
Let me ask you
have
one
no
important question.
dialogue, I come
No,
in,
but
guys.
I gotta ask you
My
this
point I'm
question.
trying to make is that
No. I think I'll do stand on stand. No. I gotta ask you the
Yeah, you
question.
see,
no.
Yeah.
I beg you. I hold your phone. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. I beg you. My point I'm making is that if we cannot bring these two people together to be able to sit on the table of dialogue and they continue the way things are, what guarantee do you have that when coming win second round, Bracket will support him? What guarantee will you have that when Bracket goes second round, Cummings will support him? So what we focusing on is first of all begin a dialogue, start a
And
friendship, build a dialogue.
this is a question that I wanted to ask you. Why is it that okay, you squarely lay the blame on Cummings? He was chairman at that time, or which of course he was not. It was normally time. But given what situation it was, um, that when the accusation of the finger of the document came up, it took long time. He should have written the according to you, he should have written the elections commission to withdraw the document or something or whatever. But then as the case went on and they had to go to court, why didn't JMB, who is seen as the elder statesman, the man with all the accolades, who has worked in government all the time, he knows how to solve this problem. In fact, in all indication, he was the
he was
eldest man.
also in charge of the CPP at the time.
Yeah. So and he was in charge of the CPP at the time. Why didn't he say no? Penona, withdraw the case from court. Wait, let's solve this thing in house. If it can't work, then we that he didn't had to go because he was subpoenaed that he had to go to court and testify. Don't you think that alone created some bad blood?
Okay, very good question. But we have to also remember the pressure that was being put on Wakai by some of us from the ANC. You see, like I said, followers can cause leaders to fight. When the incident happened, the information about document being changed, it happened when Cummings was the chairperson. The complaint came out when Yombly was chairperson. So let's get the differences. The incident took place under Cummings administration, and the complaint came out when Nyombli Kanga was chairperson. But let's remember that when Ure went to court, in fact, before Ure could go to court, the noise were there. The first time they had a press conference was Nyombli, was Ure, and they said they've been calling Cummings to sit down to talk about it, and Cummings refused. Okay, for that, I ain't got no fact on it. But what I would talk here, or what I would say here, will be based on what I know as fact. Now, when the case went to court, Boakai never wanted to go to testify. Okay? But what happened was, some members, not all, some members of the ANC was pushing Boakai to go and testify. Boakai did not want to go. We were all on social media attacking Boakai. That Boakai should go testify, Boakai should go testify. So at the end of the day, you will hold Boakai a witness. When the case went to court initially, Boakai was not hold a witness. You did not hold anybody a witness. It was we, the very, very same followers, that kept attacking Boakai, that, oh, Mr. Boakai know what's going on. He know about the document. He should testify. Why he don't want to say something? Why he don't want to talk? It was based on those grounds that Boakai was pulled into it. Now, under the law, when Boakai was called as a witness, he refused to go twice. And then the last time he was summoned by the court, and under the law of Liberia, when they call you as a witness and you refuse to go, it's a crime. So
did you listen to Ambassador Boakai's testimony at the court, or Justina?
Saros.
Yes, I'm not talking about the testimony.
When I commit to come to these kind of discussions, right? I think we want to as much as possible bring some value to it.
Yeah.
So that's why I like I know what Senator Balu has been trying to do. I understand it, and I think it's laudable.
And
I have my own position.
And I
like us to leave the platitudes aside and go after the issue, because the thing we want to achieve, we have not reached there yet. No. We still got elections in October. If we're not careful, we will give George Weah a second chance. But we have to be practical on what can work or what can work. We have to salvage what we can salvage. I started out with the statement earlier that Mr. Cummings is resolute that he's going to push his ticket, and they are working towards that. The analogy about whether you got people behind him, that is superficial, because look, elections for 2017, there were 2.18 million eligible voters. Ome Boakai in the first round got 28% of it. 28% is not anything that's worth it.
I have to leave you guys. I got another meeting to go attend.
Those things. Spare 2 minutes. You can make something and then run, because
I got a call. Okay, but my main focus here is
take the call.
Yeah, I got a call. I gotta go.
You want to say something?
I gotta go. But let me just say this for
which I brought you here. There was one topic.
Yeah, that's the thing about. But I told you, I didn't know we were having different discussions. I thought, what would they come here to discuss? You can call about issue, but I didn't know there was a different thing altogether. Yeah, but for me, Honorable, my focus is trying to unite these leaders. I am not concerned about going to the past, looking at the negative aspects.
Why you want to unite them? Why you want to unite them? Why?
I want to unite them because I believe in Cummings. I believe in Cummings being a very good leader for Liberia, and I believe also
so you want to be vice president?
Cummings. Let me finish. So Cummings can help. Boakai can help Cummings to connect down to the root. Okay, whatever way, all I want is I want them to sit on the table and discuss with no supporters, no idea from nobody. Let the two of them sit down and discuss. Let them talk. Let the people who surrounding them, pushing them because of their own agenda, let them back out. Lead these two political leaders to sit down and discuss. If the both of them reach an agreement and say, oh, Boakai coming, we agree, let's go separately, run off, I will support you. Then we all know that, yes, they have talked, they have agreed that they will go separately, but they will support each other in the run-up. Then we will be satisfied to agree to go. But the way things are, it's not good for us to go like that in the election, because that tells us that if the other party wins, the other party might not support the other person, and that will give George Weah a win.
Right.
That's one of my concerns.
Before you leave, Justina, I just got a text message here now. Somebody saying,
Give me a minute.
Omen Boyka will retire and he will live on Mr. Cummings' hands. So please rally your group and encourage people in Liberia to vote for Mr. Cummings, because I just got a text message came in now.
Listen, do you?
What kind of
I don't know whether you know. I am an ANC person. I think when I got here, the first thing I told you, I'm an ANC person. I'm an ANC member, right? And
Right.
I'm a realist. I'm an
Right.
ANC member, but I'm a realist. I tell my leaders the truth. I don't shy away from telling my leaders the truth. That's why I'm being
Your views are subjective. Your views are subjective. They are not empirical. So note that. This is what you want, but it's not necessary.
Thank you.
What
Yeah, it might
is.
not happen.
Is that fair?
Yeah, it might not happen, but this is what I want. As of this time, I'm encouraging everybody to go and register. That's my
Okay,
focus.
just
Go and register. When the dialogue takes place, good. When the dialogue doesn't take place, well, that is it. But thank you guys. I gotta go.
The reason I brought you here, Honorable Balu, you will be for you still, just not gotta go. But she told me something for which I brought her. She said she has organized a group for the re-election of Honorable Yeke Koliwa. How do you intend to sit in America and re-elect Yeke Koliwa in Liberia? Are you going to Liberia? And how is your group doing?
Well, if you ask me that question, I would say then how come 60% of ANC are in America and supporting Mr. Cummings? Where we sit in America,
how you reach your 60%?
How did you get that program number?
Because I'm a member. I'm telling you, ANC Global, for example, ANC Global. How for the member of ANC Global is diaspora. So it doesn't matter where you are, but what matters is the influence you have on the people on the ground. The influence you have on the people on the ground. Each of you here have your family. If you call your family right now, you say, look, I beg you, I want you to go register to vote for Mr. Cummings. They will listen to you because why? They look up to you in so many ways. They look up to you financially, they look up to you morally, they will listen. Secondly, your track record with them as a family. And the reason why I put this group together is because of the advocacy that Yeke have carried. You notice that with everything that have been happening in the political leaders, Yeke did not take side with nobody. He stood in the middle. He stood on the ground of trying to hold the group, the leaders together. And Yeke, it's not the job of a lawmaker is to speak for his or her people, is to write down laws, is to solicit investment. And Yeke have been denied on every side because of speaking out. And moreover, Yeke is an ANC member.
Okay.
Yeke is an ANC member.
Fair enough. I see where your effort is geared.
So when Yeke lose that district, it means you ANC, you lost.
Okay. I want to say thank you very much for your time. It's sad that you have to leave for the last few minutes that we have to be here. But it was interesting talking to you, and we wish you and your group the best of luck. And whenever you think that there is anything happening in your group and you want us to share, you can come back. Okay, Honorable Balu, to you. I know you've sat patiently, and this is one thing I must give you, that you sat patiently. Even we panelists have been claiming on each other. But tell me exactly what do you have to say about these things?
Well, I'll just go directly to the points raised by Mr. Gray. Yeah. First, he mentioned that Ambassador Boyka is entrenched with relationships. All politicians are entrenched with relationships, even Cummings, even George Weah. All of them at that level of the presidency, they're all entrenched. It could be the old order, the new order, but we're all entrenched. But more important than that, I would like to say that there's a difference to what we want and what we can get. And it would be good for us to be able to understand that. I know you want Mr. Cummings to be president. Believe me, if I have my own will too, if things will happen, the magic one, I said it. Mr. Cummings' place is in the future of this country. With the prevailing circumstances, with the condition he has, the kind of groundwork and legwork, and maybe this whole distraction that came in the CPP with the legal case, everything brought every one of them backwards. They didn't make the kind of gains they would have made otherwise. So yes, you may have your wants, but can you get them? So there's a difference. We have to be practical there. There's a difference between what you want and what you can get. Now, with all the good things you said about Mr. Cummings, and I share those things as well, I have said it publicly to the very dissatisfaction of many other politicians, including Ambassador Boakai, that I am closer to than all of them, and his supporters. I have said it clearly in public space that Mr. Cummings is the most competent. And people like us owe it to ourselves and to the country and those younger ones who are listening to us to be truthful to them. Yes, he is a good presidential material. Yes, I want to see him president in this country one day, but can it be done now? I've said it repeatedly. Mr. Cummings' pace is in the presidency of this country. But his path to the presidency will not be through popular vote, it will be by strategy. This is a man who has lived his entire adult life, working in the United States. Why is he back here in Liberia? You think it is to amass wealth for himself? We all know that. People who want to say everything they can say, they all know the truth about this man, that he's a man of integrity, of competence, of wise understanding and structured discipline. There's a man who can make things happen for this country. We know that he's a godsend, he's a gift to this country. People who don't have anything to say, they'll come and reduce to the petty talk about gay or this because they don't have anything to say about him. But as much as people like us can hold him such high esteem, we owe it to ourselves and to him. Let's be practical in our own approach to this matter. Go as vice, especially so when the window of opportunity was there, open. So no, you said, why don't they all go their separate ways? And before I say that, let me say this thing about the competency of Mr. Cummings. Before you do all the good work you want to do in this country as a president, you first and foremost have to win the presidency. You have to win it. And people like you who are passionate admirers and supporters of Cummings, why do you support Cummings? Is it because the way he walks and talks? No. You support him because it's good for Liberia. You support him because of Liberia. None of you were hanging out with Cummings before this whole issue about presidency came about. You only developed their likeness and you get the support because what it means to this country. You are all in very developed parts of the world. But because of your passion, because your mind, your heart is still back to Liberia.
I live in Liberia.
No, I'm talking about the rest of the people now. Okay. I mean, we all here. You see, that's why they're up there.
So don't.
I'm just saying this to you guys because you have passion here, and it's good to be practical with that. Now, let me just say something else. You say, if Mr. Boakai is so popular, why does he need Cummings' vote? Why are we? Hey, Mr. Boakai is not running behind Cummings. Ambassador Boakai is not running behind Cummings.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on, sir. I wanted to ask one question.
Mr. Cummings is not running behind Ambassador Boakai.
Yeah, but
and that is precisely the problem.
Please, let me stop you right there. You will continue. I know you scripted down all of the points. That's why you are so silent. But
no,
my idea is also to interrupt you when you talk. Yeah. The question here is, since you are so close to Mr. Boakai, and I guess you've been talking at some points, have you ever heard from him that, oh, I want Cummings to be my running mate? Or have you ever proposed to him all these are good ideas and you think that Mr. Cummings can make a very good vice president to him and he can take all the mantle from him? Have any of you, the two of you, ever had any conversation regarding that?
Well, let me see.
So let me jump in before because Senator Balu is closer to Ambassador Boakai. But let me tell you what I know because I'm part of a core group of Liberians.
But I asked Senator Balu this question. I want to hear from his own mouth, and you will come in.
So I will leave it with Senator Balu.
Yeah.
I've had a series of discussions with the major actors and a lot of the actors in the opposition bloc.
But specifically with VP Bwaka, I'm asking.
Yes, I've met with him repeatedly. We've talked, and if you notice, I never discuss in public space what I talk in private with these people. It is not a healthy attitude. It's not a healthy thing to do. When we speak in confidence. I can only, if you ask me, I say, well, things are not going as we expect. Those are the kind of things I can say. All right. And it is getting increasingly.
Yeah, but your answer is a little bit tricky, because the question I'm asking, I'm not asking you to give me the outcome of whatever meeting you guys have. The only question I'm asking is whether you and he have ever discussed anything concerning.
Yeah, but these are the kind of issues I raised. These are the issues I raised. I speak about the unity of the opposition. I speak about these kind of arrangements, and we have all these kind of conversations. Like I said, I'm dealing with the substance surrounding it. I can't go into details what I discussed with Ambassador.
Okay, Ambassador Balu, you are in close.
How it is going, so that it's not that I'm leaving you in the dark. I'm saying, I'm giving you some insight about it. I'm saying conversations are not unfolding the way I would like them to unfold. But I can also say they are not. My last rounds have not given me the kind of negative or difficult posture as from the beginning. Things are getting better. Things are softer. You understand me? So that gives me some hope. But the hope
have you sat with Mr. Cummings also?
So no, you have asked Senator Balu. I know you'll go on, but give me 1 second to just express my thought on that same question based on my own spheres of influence. So I'm in the peripheral. So I have no diplomatic relationship or stuff like that to be able to sustain, so somebody can start getting uncomfortable and talking to me. What I know for a fact is that just inside a month ago, key players of the Unity Party met with some stakeholders and raised the issue that Ambassador Bwaka would like to ask Mr. Cummings to be his running mate. And they assigned somebody to go and talk to Mr. Cummings, somebody who is now close to him, who became part of the inner core recently. I'm not going to call names so I don't compromise my people. And they went to Mr. Cummings.
Close to Mr. Cummings or close to Mr. Bwaka?
Close to Mr. Cummings, and both all Unity Party executive, who is much closer to Mr. Cummings now, who is in the Cummings camp, was tasked to go and put that before Mr. Cummings. Ambassador Bwaka's statement was that I want to ask Mr. Cummings to be my running mate, but I'm a countryman, so I don't want him to say no. So I want you people to go and give me a signal, right? So these guys go to Mr. Cummings, and Mr. Cummings vehemently disagree with it for obvious reason. And the impression I got from the meeting was that most of that was personal, that he didn't trust what had happened because of the court case. But what I said to you, less than 4 days ago, I talked to Mr. Cummings personally, and I exchanged emails with him. He told me clearly that if hard work can win the elections, then he will win. He's going to be on a ticket in October. I'm quoting him directly. He's going to be on the ticket in October, and the Liberian people will have the authority to decide who their president is, and they deserve the decision to make, and he will live with the consequences.
Okay, so that's
why when I came earlier, I said that for us to keep on resuscitating this thing is really now the best use of our time, because I mean the Cummings, at least from the Cummings perspective, he's moving forward. In that meeting that I said that the vice president acquiesced for somebody to go to Cummings, part of it was that he should delay naming his running mate in the hope that this thing was going to work. So my expectation that they will be naming the running mate very soon. Everybody, the trains have left the station. I just hope that we can do the thing harmoniously, so that, and that's why I laud Senator Balu's effort, that the time will come for us to put our support behind somebody. Obviously,
Mr. Gray, let me tell you, the time that you're talking about is very dangerous for you, for the future of this country. And I will explain to you. And I will explain to you. But before we go there, the number one question we need to ask ourselves is, why did these political leaders to agree to merge in the first place? Why? You understand that? So the reason for them coming together, has that reason disappeared? No.
I think they didn't think it out too well. I think the reason was just to win where, not the issue of governance. Because if they were talking about, because you are a very intelligent person, I know that if you were in that meeting, you are going to make sure, based on the recommendation that you have put forth, you are going to make sure that the issue of governance be discussed from the beginning, so that everybody will feel secure enough and don't have these back and forth that led to the breakup of the arrangement.
Well, the reason why they decided to come together, because they knew divided they couldn't win. The reason why the CDC decided to join with the NPP, the LDPT, the PYJ group, and all of these things is because they knew CDC alone could not win.
Yeah.
Can I disagree? Can I disagree with you? Can I disagree with you for a second and just entertain a small conversation on 2017?
Please go ahead.
I don't believe, because I was involved in the peripheral, we ran a major PR campaign after the first round of the election in 2017.
How much time do we have left on your show?
We got about 5 minutes, but we...
No. Please let me finish.
You can us for another 10 minutes, man. Let's make this...
I'm not worried about you, about Senator Balu. But
Senator Balu will not run out of data, man. That's a big man order. You got stuff on.
Okay.
So let me call some issues on this, and these are the discussions that we don't have often, Senator Balu. And I said earlier, I admire you. I don't want to kill a horse. In 2017, George Weah did not win the elections because he was popular in the second round. He did not. The reason George Weah won the election is because the vice president neglected to contest for the runoff. And let me tell you why I say so. Because we're in the middle of that. In fact, some of the reason they say a lot of things about Snow. But Snow on the right side of history. He pushed the opposite point. They didn't agree. At the end of the first round of the elections, George Weah had 38% of the votes. Women Boaka had about 28% of the vote. The next person, Bromsky, had 150,000 votes, around 15, 16, 18% of the vote. Councillor Bromsky took the result of the elections to contest. That in fact, the process was fraudulent and they should nullify the elections. Councillor Bromsky produced some ballot papers that he claimed he got from Grand Jita County. It turned out those ballot papers were the test ballots. They were not real ballot papers, but on his feet of this evidence that he brought, he pursued the case that the elections be nullified. Guess what? Joseph Boakai has already been named as the second in the ranks, and because nobody had 50% plus one, a runoff was going to be scheduled. Less than 7 days after Bromsky raised the case with the Elections Commission, Ambassador Boakai and the Unity Party sent their lawyers to the Elections Commission and said that they want to join with Bromsky to argue for the nullification of the elections that they have won, instead of running, preparing, canvassing for a runoff. So think about it. By around the 20th of October, all the way to the early part of December, Councillor Vani Sherman, who was representing the Unity Party along with a team of lawyers, spent time along with Bromsky between the Elections Commission. Their case was thrown out. They took an appeal and ended up to the Supreme Court. At the Supreme Court, in the 11th hour in early December, the Supreme Court finally decided that their case was not sufficient, that the elections were free and fair, the results should stand, and the Supreme Court set the runoff date for December 26, less than a month after the case was closed. If you look at the elections data, I will use Bapulu for an example because we crunched these numbers. In the first round, the vice president won. Remind you now, vice president had 28%, George Weah had 38%. So this was an open contest. Everybody feel George Weah was not educated. The other people who were educated, like Cummings and Bromsky, other people were easy people that black guys should be appealing to. Bapulu, the vice president won in the first round. In the second round, he lost Bapulu. Not because George Weah had any extra votes. It was just because people didn't turn out to support him in the second round. Apparently because they were under the impression that he did not recognize the elections and he was not going along with it. Probably they are gone on their farm already where the cell phone don't work to call them back to vote. You can attribute that to many other counties. Here comes the notion that, oh, George, we are 14 counties or 15 counties. That statement is not truly clear in terms of it doesn't represent actual numbers. Yeah, it represents win. But the decision alone that was made by the vice president and his team led more to losing the elections than George Weah's popularity. Because in the first round of the election in October, 74% of the eligible voters cast their vote. In that second round runoff, barely 50% of the people turned out to vote. The Councilor Balu. So when we're talking about these numbers over and over, this person have the number, this person, the bigger number is outside of what was cast for each of these candidates. The opportunity is there for any serious candidate to do a hard work to win the election. And that's why I'm not anxious about this confusion about we must merge. If these candidates go to the elections in the first round and we have two candidates win, one of who turned out to be George Weah or Brackeye or Cummings, we know now that we have one opposition candidate in the ranks. Then we should rally ourselves around that candidate.
Yes.
Okay, good. So let me come to why I say.
Sorry for holding you, Ambassador. Go ahead.
Let me tell you why I say it is dangerous for the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
Very dangerous. Because, and I said it, if the opposition bloc doesn't unite now and they go to the election divided, even with that understanding that you have now that they have been circulating, they will lose the entire legislature. The opposition will now win one seat in the legislature.
Why is that?
Why?
And I can tell you why. Because CDC, Congress, I mean the coalition, not the Congress, okay? CDC, like the coalition, they will be fielding one candidate. These people are incumbent. They are leading. They are the ones in power. They have control over all the state resources. And they are not apologizing on the way they abuse it. Okay? They are using it to their advantage.
Yeah,
So
but
they are going to
that gives them this disadvantage because the people will look at them and say, well, these people.
Well, to you will be a disadvantage. But all the people who are trucking today are people from the government.
And they're using government money. You make a good point, Councilor. Ambassador.
They can truck it. They can pay the $15,000 to truck people. They can pay the $20,000 to truck.
But why don't we stop the trucking?
But can you do that? Are you doing that? You're not thinking about it. You're fighting each other. United we stand, divided we fall. You are involved with the distraction. You're not involved with the target. So right now, you are losing focus on your target and everything is going haywire under your watch. What is going on at ledges? Complete confusion. What is going on at neck? Complete confusion. These things are things that should be capturing the attention of the opposition bloc, but they're not doing it. So let's go to this point. CDC posts forth a candidate in any district. Alexander Cummings-led opposition bloc posts forth a candidate. Ambassador Walker opposition bloc posts forth a candidate. Gonglo posts forth a candidate. And all the other parties, Simon Freeman, you spoke of that, post forth a candidate. And all these other little independent candidates are now fielding themselves because the opposition is in disarray. So even if the ruling party enjoys 40% of the vote, and 60% of the population is against them, you divide that 60% even by 2, you have 30% less than the people 40%. If you divide by 3 or so the people minority vote becomes majority because of your confusion and division that you have amongst yourself. So a divided opposition hoping and targeting the presidency is a very irresponsible position. It's careless, it's selfish, and it's dangerous for the opposition.
Yeah,
It's very good.
it sounds
And
scary.
mark my word,
It
all
sounds
of the
scary.
opposition candidates, whether that's senatorial candidates or representative candidates, they will lose.
It sounds
all of them.
scary. It sounds scary when you apply
But
it.
that's a good point, guys. Balu, but is there a way to negotiate that without negotiating the top?
Let me
Yeah,
tell you even why they can even lose the presidency. I can tell you why. And this confusion is going on right now, even now as we speak. Every other member of the opposition has been calling for people to register, except for today. I heard now Ambassador Boaka, has sounded an alarm at the Farmington Declaration signature that he wanted the NEC to postpone or extend the registration. But all the other opposition people are calling for registration, except for ANC, who is pursuing this thing in court with the other half of the Liberty Party.
They're still calling for registration, though.
No. I'm just saying, I listened to some of them, some of the people. They made some very good points. Everyone else has taken the picture, placed it, except for Cummings, who has not changed his picture, and other people and things like that. It makes point. That's a good sense of point. My point is, if these people are pursuing one group to not register, or if they're not encouraging people, and the other group is encouraging, we are part of the opposition bloc, and in that confusion, you don't think there is a need for you to sit down and harmonize that position?
But
And that is
let
the
me
very
ask you,
percentage
Senator.
of the opposition you will be requiring to support it in runoff, and you're depriving yourself of a good percentage. I mean,
Let me ask you, Senator.
Senator Balu.
Now, before you come in, let me end this thing because you've been interrupting so much. We've been losing thoughts.
Okay.
Here you have the runoff. Now, imagine the kind of a bad blood that has been fueled over 2+ years of in-house fighting that you cannot reconcile. Even up to today, you have people still saying negative things about each other from the Cummings side and the Boaka side. What makes you to think that you can reconcile those differences in a month or two to run off? It's not going to work. People, if Cummings should go, the Boaka people are going to say, oh, there's a man who disturb the old man. The old man had this thing here. He didn't walk in and disturb the old man. Nobody got time for him. If Boaka should go, they say, oh, they put that serious, man. They just want to do the same old thing over and over. We're not going to follow them. How does it help you? Yes, Cummings may say he's supporting Boaka, but will his supporters follow him? And even yes, if some of them follow him, will all of them follow him? Will they go to the election with the same passion that you need to go into with that conviction to inspire the Liberian population? So everything is just a joke. Now, the worst part about this is people like you, excuse me for being direct and blunt, who are strong supporters of Cummings or who are strong supporters of Boaka, you think you're doing these people a favor by holding your ground, or you're entrenching yourself in your arguments of logic, of reasoning, of who's right and who's wrong. Believe me, after October, when the results are announced, all these arguments won't matter. What will matter is the suffering of the Liberian people who will be subjected to another 6 years of misrule. What will matter is how we have all lost a golden opportunity. When the CPP was united, you overwhelmingly won the midterm senatorial election. That was an overall indictment of the population of the CDC government. They won only 3 seats, my dear brothers, 3 seats. And we're talking senatorial election. That means the average of the counties, the country had rejected CDC. But guess what happens afterwards? CPP got reluctant, they got careless, they got irresponsible in this whole thing. Look what happened in Lofa as a result when the CPP was not united opposition. I refer to it as the least expected place to lose an election from the opposition. And if it can happen in Lofa, it can happen anywhere.
Not the entire opposition, though. It was Unity Party.
You see,
No, it doesn't matter. At the opposition, that CDC candidate, supported candidate won. You understand me? They won. And people was difficult to accept it because it was unbelievable. Unbelievable, but true.
But I just suggest
I want to say something, Sarah.
So right now, if you say, let them go separate ways, or why this one? Hey, you want to judge all these things that happen? For me, I have one way of responding to it. I say, And so what? Do we throw the country away because the Cummings were carried to court wrongly? And so what? Do we throw the country away because Bwaka has been insulted in social media by this and that people? And so what? Do we throw the country away because they can't understand, or because we hurt each other, or because this person is not apologizing to the other? You want to prove who is right or who wrong when the children in the millions are suffering here with no food to eat and no school to go to, no job for the young people, and the sick and elderly are without protection, social security?
The way you sell it is too extreme. We are a democracy. We are a democracy. At the end of the day,
I'm playing
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, is the will of the people. The people will decide. The way you're saying it is that there has to be certain things that are fixed. If there are disagreement between certain units of this system, that means the people have not evolved to that level to make the informed decision. So people
right now. I'm talking about you. I'm not
talking about democracy.
Wait, I'm not talking about the people.
Senator Barlow.
You are the enlightened ones. I'm speaking to you. I want
Senator
you to
Barlow,
reflect on this.
Senator Barlow, I want to admonish you on something. Look, Senator Barlow, you bring a whole lot of value and passion to this Liberian democracy. Let me say something to you. Yeah, I'm trained as a project manager, so I'm very practical. I look at what works and what doesn't work. So I don't work around a zero sum or 100 sum. It seemed to me that we are not going to have a unity on the part of agreeing to one presidential candidate. The point you raised is a very good point that most people are not looking at. Can you, in your capacity with the face recognition you have, start to tweak your conversation to the extent that, look, since we can't agree on a single candidate, can we create a mechanism or a model where we can agree on the representatives, the senators, and members of the House of Representatives, and we can create an equitable condition so that we can feed at least as much as possible single candidates in these districts and counties? Is that something that you can consider?
Yeah, that too will not work. And it is the most confusing debate or argument one can put forth. And I'll tell you why. Let's say we build consensus on one representative candidate. Who's that candidate? That person is going to come. Let's say the person comes from ANC, right? Who is that person going to be campaigning for the presidency? He's going to say, oh, vote for me, vote for anybody who want to be president. If you take a candidate in Masurada, this district is from Unity Party, who is he going to be campaigning for the presidency?
They vote for Cummings or Bwaka.
You understand that? So as long as you're careful, vote for me, whoever you want, vote for them. You understand? If you said just now, let me say, sometimes there's only one solution to a problem. Sometimes.
And now, this time, what is it? This time,
in the Liberian case today, there's only one solution. And that solution is for Cummings and Bwaka to come together. And let me tell you this much. I was also saying to another argument that, the issue of Senator Yombly, Lawrence was moving around as a potential candidate. And I said to people, this woman has my utmost respect. I worked with her. She was one of the very good senators that, we partner with on many issues. We have mutual respect for each other. She's way up there, okay? And I respect her. But like I said to people from the Unity Party, bringing in Senator Lawrence today doesn't add to the number of Ambassador Bwaka. As we speak, she and all her supporters are now supporting Ambassador Bwaka. If she is chosen today, what new numbers are added to his number? Nothing. It doesn't expand. Now, he can go and take someone else. No problem. I hear now even Senator Kuhn, that is moving around. He can go and choose who he wants. But why is it's so important for Cummings? Let me tell you why. Cummings comes with the second largest bloc right now in the opposition. Cummings comes with the remaining half of the Liberty Party. I have a piece of paper here. I'm going to cut it in half. One half of Liberty Party is with Ambassador Bwaka. The other half is with Cummins side. Cummins coming with Bwaka brings along the remaining half of the Liberty Party. So now you have a united front. United front. The rest of the other opposition, you can negotiate with them. You can work with them. Senator Lawrence today can make a very good pro tem. She's the most experienced senator in our place now in terms of years and exposure. She can be there. Why do you want to go and elect a new senator again for Grand Bassa, a very competitive election when you already have a sitting senator who is a ranking member? Go in for that, maintain her. Take Cummins, he come with the other half of the Liberty Party. Go and win your election first round. And with a united CPP, you will win the entire legislature. There is not one seat the CDC will win.
Paul,
The
come in.
CDC will not
Come in
win
with your
one
question.
seat.
Because I got one
If you
last
go for
question for the
united
senator and
opposition.
we'll be going.
If they go divided, the opposite will be true. CDC will win the entire seat in the legislature, and the opposition will not win one. And when they go for the presidency, there's no guarantee they will win, because the whole country would have seen the legislature being won by George Weah, and all of them want to follow the wind, because people are feeling insecure, especially in a country like a government like this, that will go and use it to their disadvantage to punish them.
So,
Okay,
So
Paul,
there's
come in,
only
and
one
then
solution
we'll
for this
get out of
thing.
here.
That's one. That's a united opposition with Ambassador Bwaka as president and Mr. Cummins as vice president. Follow my speech. Listen to my speech. You want to tweak it, you want to amend it, you want to play with it, go ahead, but maintain the core of that speech, because that's the solution.
Senator Balu, I got a just simple question for you.
Go
All
ahead.
the energy you have put in this Bwaka and Cummins ticket, if you have put in that effort to educate or encourage those 3 million Liberians that did not vote the last time, even register to get them out, you don't think it will resonate with them more than to concentrate just on these two people? Imagine that 3 million people come out to make informed decision. Do you think this will not happen, that Liberia will not have somebody better in there? The two people say they're not going to go together. Why don't you put that energy and effort encouraging people to register and make that to get out and vote, instead of these two people? It must be Bwaka. What Omer Bwaka said something years ago, 2017. Love Liberia, think Liberia, build Liberia. As an elderly spokesman, for the sake of Liberia, I would put it in my way too, to say, when I used to play football at the age of 16 to 30, I was very active. By the time I got 35, I couldn't run anymore. So the one that have the energy, why can't he just put this guy hand up, say, for the sake of
Except we're
Liberia?
not talking about playing football here. We're
No,
talking
no,
about
no,
running the
not football. I
country.
just gave you another day here.
No, I don't want you to help you know too.
You talking about, I just putting my
Football, you
own.
work from your feet. The presidency is from your head.
I agree. But what I'm saying here,
And the values you bring to the
you know,
presidency is
Senator
wisdom,
Balu,
is
you know what I'm
experience,
driving
is
at.
knowledge.
You know what I'm
Not
driving
the
at.
physique.
At certain age, when you get into retirement, you give the younger one the chance to have the energy. That's what I'm driving at, and you know exactly. Why don't you put your energy and talk to Ambassador Bwaka? Look, we need a better Liberia now, and Cummins come with this, and you've been seeing it. He's the best at the moment, but he must go number 2. Why can't the men who have that experience the best, the other one cannot give chance now for that better Liberia that you
So
advocating
if you don't
for?
get what you want, so what? What do we do?
But that's you. What you want? That's you pushing for your agenda, and
No,
I'm
no, no.
saying
I'm saying we gave them chance to sort it out themselves.
Sarah
They
said
had
it
the
earlier.
option.
That's
No,
what
no. From
in
the
the second
beginning,
round.
From the beginning, you didn't hear me interfering in how they were going to sort it out. In my own Unity Party confines, in our meetings, I was in a meeting where I frowned on the fact that they even went to a merger meeting on the basis that all the parties were equal. That was the first flaw. Unity Party by no means measure form was equal to ALP, ANC, or Liberty Party. Unity Party was twice as bigger than all of them combined. So that was the first flaw in the engagement in forming that merger. And I frowned on that. And they went into that based on the arguments put forth by the other parties to entertain good faith in moving forward. But all these things are spilled milk. I'm not going to argue on this thing anymore. You are saying today, this man is supposed to do this, this man. Suppose they don't do it. So what? We let the country go down?
The time
I
is
know
gone.
you want to go, but I want to ask Senator Balu just 2 quick questions, right? So he said earlier that Ellis Cummings is a leader of the future. After saying all the great things that Ellis can do, our problems are today. We have problems today. Exactly. He can solve the problem, but he's a leader of the future. Ellis is 65 years old right now. So you're waiting for him to be Joe Buarke's age before he become president? That's the first question.
Okay, so I would turn that question back to you. That's what you say I'm saying. What are you saying? Should Cummings go by himself and lose and don't go back for gain and the country will lose a great gift like Cummings? No.
I don't know. I'm not Balu. I do the numbers. I don't believe that Cummings. I don't know for certain that Cummings will lose, but election is a contest. It's a contest. You have to put your best effort. You have to put your best effort in it. You see what? The extent that we're trying to guarantee a win. Now, what the problem is, because we cannot guarantee a win.
Okay,
let me ask the senator simple arithmetic question.
If Buarke and Cummings goes on the same ticket, Mr. Gray, I assume that you are a Christian or a strong Muslim or somebody who believes in God. if Buarke and Cummings go on the same ticket, do you agree with me that it's a first round victory certain?
How do we know?
No, I agree with you that it's more likely that they will win.
Good.
Okay,
with you and myself.
Okay. Senator, I will stop you right there. I'm going to ask you this simple question. That's simple arithmetic.
Mr. Gray answered the question very fairly.
Where Liver?
He said it's more likely than any other option that they will win first round. That's correct. The best chance of the opposition winning. In other words,
I agree.
Now, with you and myself living in this country, forget about the people who are in America right now. We're on the ground. You understand me? You and myself living in this country, seeing this kind of problems we have. You today, if you have any serious medical complication, you're done if you don't have money to travel to go anywhere. We cannot take chances with our life. Should we be picking a chance with somebody who could win, or we put our chances on a ticket that we sure can win? What would be your question?
So I will ask you a quick question. You are implying to me that if we have a situation where Ambassador Buarke is president and Cummings is vice president, that will solve our problems?
Absolutely.
How you know that?
I can tell you for a fact, because the two people are people of the highest quality that this country can produce in terms of its citizenry.
Okay, thank you. Then.
These two people are the cream of the society.
Yeah, this is where I want to ask.
Bring to the table what Liberia needs.
Okay,
you think they'll be able to work together? If they can't work together now, you think they'll be able to work together?
Exactly. Can you guys give me the opportunity?
If you know the two of them, Linford, sorry, I will come in. If you know the two of them, you will know that these two people, when they explain their own stories, you know they went to school together. You know they're friends. You know they grew up together.
Like Buarke said at the court hearing that he does not know Cummings like that.
Exactly. Excuse me, you can continue to maintain certain things in your head to maintain a certain posture, or you can learn to entertain the information that can propel you into.
Is that not important? Is that not important?
I have heard Ambassador Buarke and I have heard Mr. Cummings say that both of them are good friends.
Okay,
both
then I will
of them
take that.
said it to my face.
Okay,
and that is what I hold on to.
Okay,
I have heard even Ure and Cummings.
Our
These
time
are
is
people
fast.
who grew up and know each other.
Our
These
time
are
is fast. We got to get out of here. All of those stories are true that Mr. Buarke and Mr. Cummings want to see them. I got one simple question with all of what you just said, especially the last part of this discussion, where you said that both gentlemen are the face of the country, or the
best.
Yeah. Now, so let's do simple arithmetic. When we went to school, they say 1 plus 1 are 2. 1 plus 2 are 3. So it doesn't matter where you put in one. If 1 plus 2 is 3, it doesn't matter where I put 1. I can say 1 plus 2 is 3 or 2 plus 1 is 3. So since Coming and Bwaka, ticket is a winnable ticket from the perspective of many Liberians, including you. So why can't we make Bwaka the VP to Cummings and then let them win this scheme? Simple. That can be Bwaka president and not Cummings president.
Except politics can redefine the logic of mathematics. For example, you can say 1 plus 2 equals 3. Politics, 1 plus 2 sometimes are 536.
That's true.
And sometimes 1 plus 3 is
fair enough.
You understand me?
I ask this question.
So the logic of mathematics is not, fixed in
politics.
But the reason I ask this question is that because people have bought this idea.
No, I'm answering you. I'm saying what you can get from Bwaka Cummings may not be true for Cummings Bwaka. And let me tell you, okay, this time is fast spent, but in some practice, Mr. Gray, you say you're a very practical person. I said this thing. If Ambassador Bwaka was going to step aside and say he's not running, he's doing this and going to make kingmaker, that's something that could have favored the country. If Ambassador Bwaka, because of what he brings to the table, the leadership and the kind of value he brings to the table, the people around him believes in him so much, and they propel him, and he decides he's going to run, then you have a situation you have to be faced with, because Bwaka is a political force. Now, if Bwaka is running and Cummings is running, and they have gone through all of these processes through the framework document, and they have not yielded any positive results, and we reach to the table of compromise, of dialogue, of consensus building, and we have to deal with the facts before us. Cummings 67, Bwaka 79. Who will be vice president to the other? Bwaka served in government 2 terms as vice president with all of the years of experience that he has. Cummings has never been vice president. Cummings doesn't have the political experience. Who will be vice president to the other? When you groom a vice president, is to somebody to take over from you and propel the country to the future. Bwaka is not running again after this election. What is he going to be vice president for? To be what president when?
How do you know that? How do you know he's not running? Bwaka is
we gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here.
Again, Mr. Gray keeps saying that we gotta go. But if you want to make this thing long, Mr. Gray, with this kind of argument, you are in Liberia. I will exchange numbers with me.
Ambassador Balu, a lot of things you say are practical, but there's nothing to say that Ambassador Bwaka, if he wins the election, he's not going to run. No. If somebody say, he and think, take that out, because when you become president, you have the largesse and the resources that the government at disposal. You can even go to Sweden, they can take out your hair and put different hair there.
And let me tell you why he will not run. Ambassador Bwaka has his fair share. What this man is trying to do with that age is to try to set certain standards and certain things right in this country.
No.
That's what he's trying to do.
Only him can do that. Only him can do that. That's what you're saying.
No, it's not only him can do that.
Let me leave you with one last question. It's not often that we have a
he is carrying the burden of the expectation of the people.
It's not often that we have an opportunity. Ambassador, not often that we have an opportunity with somebody with your experience and your knowledge of government and vast experience that to have these kinds of discussion as open to the public air. So I'm going to ask you this one last question. And I said earlier how I really admire how you're pushing this thing, even though I have my concerns about whether it can work or not. We were talking about Ume Bwaka. I mentioned the issue of 2017 election, so I won't go back there. We are acting as though it's a given that Ambassador Joseph Bwaka is capable of becoming the best president of Liberia. What leads you to believe that? What in the history of Ambassador Bwaka? He has never won an election before.
No.
He
won two elections.
Which election he won?
When President Salif won, he won twice.
President Salif won or that he won?
Don't make a mistake. Joseph Bwaka gave President Salif a lot of votes. Don't make that mistake.
So let come on now. So you're saying to me that is president is Joe Boakai that made Salif to win the election?
Joe Boakai made President Salif to win the election. President Salif is a powerful force. She commands her own numbers, but Boakai numbers made her to win convincingly. Boakai is the backbone of Ellen popularity in the government. In the
so why Ellen let me add point one to that question. So why Ellen doesn't support him?
Joe Boakai, that's another debate for a longer time. I will say to you, the devil has been busy. I'm not going to waste my time on that discussion.
Why GMB didn't win the last senatorial election in Lofa County?
The devil has been busy.
Why didn't he win the last
he didn't win?
Because it's
not because it's not popular. Ambassador Boakai can take 95%, if not 99% of the vote from Lofa any day. The only reason why he lost is because of the very same disunity. That's why I'm answering you. It's because of the very same disunity.
Unity to win, though.
I say to you,
if you say,
no, let me answer you down.
Yeah, but I'm holding it to.
Let me answer you. I'm answering you.
No, hold on, Senator. I'll not let you go. I'll not let you go.
That's your question.
Yeah, I will not let you go with this
one. Please go ahead.
Yeah, you are saying that he can win 95% of the votes in Lofa County at any time, right?
Right.
Okay. If you go to Lofa, the water that they walk in is not even clear in the same morning, just recently. And he was defeated massively in Lofa, in a senatorial race. What happened to the 95% that he can get anytime, according to you?
So I can answer that.
Yes.
The point here I want to say to you, the children of Lofa, the people of Lofa were voting among their children. Okay? Unity Party had a candidate. Those who participated in the election, you have at least 4 to 5 who were originally Unity partisans. Sumo Kupi, my esteemed colleague that I worked with for 9 years, the former senior senator of Lofa, he contested. He was a Unity Party man all the time. We were in the Senate. Marama Fofana, very strong Unity Party woman herself. Even the Saras, where they caught him. You understand me? Before you add the court. All of these people are Unity. If you add these 3 people vote, Sumo Kupi, Marama Fofana, and the Saras, they have voted more than 12,000 votes, more than 11,000 votes. Okay? The
so in other words, they all divided in Lofa County.
If they had united, yes, if they had united the party stands,
I cleverly asked this question
would have won by 10,000
I cleverly asked this question to bring you back to the national scene, where everybody is looking at this George Weah administration now as the biggest, that if opposition does not unite, will win. Now, take for example, in the past election, Mr. Boakai received 28% of the vote, okay, and Mr. Komen received 7%, and there was I think MDR received 8%. So all of these people, if they all go in this race now individually as it stands with no opposition unity, and they all subtract small percentages from the total number, where do you think the George Weah become so strong that we need opposition to go and get him down? I mean, let's use a Lofa County example.
You are saying, if I get you right, that if all the political parties go and start taking their own votes from inside, right?
Yes, yeah. Because no unity now.
Let me help you understand.
Okay, help me.
Which these parties you're talking about, are they part of the ruling party?
Oh, no, I mean, because as an opposition bloc stands,
they are from the opposition bloc, right?
Yeah, they're
from the opposition bloc. Good. So all these parties taking votes are from the opposition bloc. That's what we agree.
Right.
So they will be taking votes from the opposition.
Yeah, but they'll also be taking it from the ruling party.
No.
How?
The ruling party got their own thing, the voting. They're voting on one block. You decide you divide yourself into 2003 pieces. You will be divided. That's why I said you will lose the entire legislature because of this.
I don't know.
That's why I say.
I don't know if it can happen in Lofa, where Lofa people fought among themselves, they divided the vote. They took piece. So how can
the people who are dividing the votes were dividing Unity Party votes? Precisely.
Yeah, but there are no guarantees in this election. I understand you want guarantees.
Dividing the Jala vote. They were dividing
You want
the people who were supporting Baka.
Senator Balu, you agree with me with experience that there can be no unity or cohesion if the individual interest of the different blocks are not considered. So it's not if you just jump on and say, oh, let people just come together, let the other man be the head. That man have been the head, he got people following him. There's a whole lot of hard work that needs to be done. And that's why I still put the credit on you, because you are more insightful.
He's really been
a whole lot of hard work. Liberia, unlike many places around the world where people have many options, the private sector, the people investing, people who want to run for offices, they already got a company and farms. Most people in Liberia rely on government. Whether I would like to say it or not, people think their livelihood is tied to them having a government job or some influence in government. If elections are coming and you are having a conversation on how you unite people to be able to have a consensus candidate, you can't have that in a clear blue sky. You got to sit down and look at interest. If we're bringing people together, how do we guarantee their interests? How do we make Mr. Cummings president? The same thing applies to the boys behind, or boys will be a disrespectful word, but the people behind Ambassador Barkai. The reason they support Ambassador Barkai is not so much that they think Ambassador Barkai would be a great president, but the thing that when Ambassador Barkai is president, it will give them an opportunity to also serve and to also be able to take care of themselves and their family. So if you just look at everybody, that man Ambassador Barkai the head, the people who you asking to come and join that bandwagon, are you having a conversation about how their interest and their participation in government will be guaranteed?
Mr. Gray, you and I both agree you cannot solve all the country problem on one table at the first discussion.
That's true.
The devil is in the details. What I'm discussing with is on the surface, on the focus, on the target, on the approach, the strategy. Unite.
Let's get into a meeting.
How unite? How did they unite? They can discuss the details, but go in there united. And as we conclude, let me say this: if they decide to unite, as slim as it is, if they decide that's the only way for the future of this country to be guaranteed.
Thank you.
Now, having done that, if they decide today, they got so much work to do now that they have not even thought about. They have to now go back to all of the counties and all of the constituencies and try to reconcile the different opposition actors now who have been introduced into the race. Each of these counties now got about 4 or 5 people who want to be senators. They're all from the opposition. From the representative, each district have about 4 or 5 candidates from the opposition who are contesting that. You have to be able to ensure that every district you put forth only one candidate. That's where now you need to reimburse people funding. You need to incorporate people into government structure. You need to engage them to be active into the campaign for the person that will win. You need to find a workable solution that can satisfy all of them to not have rogue actors who will go after the process. You have to start doing your work. There's so much work to be done. The opposition is not thinking about it, and we're just doing the wrong thing.
Right.
I mean, I'm really starting to believe that there's some serious juju working here, because no other logic can justify what's happening.
And actually, that particular statement you made is part of the topic that we should have discussed, but no more time. Whether the opposition has been working hard in order to make sure that they can secure victory. But I think the time is fast spent, and we don't want to keep you here.
Senator,
Mr. President, let's have a conversation afterwards.
I'll do that. I'll reach out to you, Ambassador Balu.
Thank you.
Ambassador Balu, you done well. I like your advocacy, but I think it's late. And what I'm asking is late. This is where the waste note should have taken place from day one when they were going to court. That was the place they should have gone in-house to resolve this when they were getting resolved.
But they didn't do it now. We need to move forward.
Yes. I want to bridge now, Chinowe.
So say if we're going forward now,
so we need to move forward.
That's the forward I'm talking about.
We can't be living in the past. The
No,
clock
we're not
is
living
ticking.
in the past.
The election is
What
coming
I'm
close.
saying-
The people are about to announce the vice standard bearer.
Yeah,
Once
so-
they cross that political Rubicon, there's no turning back.
Exactly. So what I'm saying, the effort that you are making, we still got 6 months. There are a lot of people out there have not registered to vote. Make that effort. Use that golden voice of yours to get those people to vote. If we all want to get rid of this bad government, make use of that effort. That's what I'm saying.
But Paul, who they registering? Where Senator Balu is raising? Who they registering to vote for?
Well,
we tell people to register. We encourage people to do that. I'm just saying, let me set this challenge to you, because right now, between now and the next in a month's time or 2 weeks time, anybody could start announcing candidate bystander bearer.
Yeah.
I want to challenge this bottom line. Invite the hardcore leadership of the ANC, hardcore leadership of the Unity Party, hardcore leadership of the Liberty Party, the ALP, people who are close to the standard bearers of the party, people who are close to the decision-making process. Invite them on the platform and let's have a real debate on this issue. You understand me? Because all the things we're talking, and the only reason why I'm going public like this, because I know they are listening one way or the other. I know they're hearing it. So I'm throwing it out. So in the confines of the privacy of their homes, they can have this sober reflection that can change their perspective and try to introduce some new, thoughts into the argument and the debate when they're having the discussions. So do that. Invite these people. Insist that they come. Announce it that you're inviting X, Y, Z from their party. Let them send their people. Let us make the case. Because when you invite the hardcore leadership, they will listen to it as well. And they will impact the audience. It will impact the membership. It will impact the decision making. We have to hold on to the 1% hope that still exists. We have to hold on to, we have to be optimistic. And people like you who have the microphone, who can convince, who have the power of the mic, try and dilute your hard stance a little bit. It's not about who's right or who's wrong now. It's not about who's first or who's second. It's about how we can change the political narrative of Liberia, how we too can develop. And it can only happen right now with one approach as a united opposition and as the Bwaka Cummings approach. Bringing those people together, first round victory, the entire legislature is won over, and there's an unprecedented move for progress and prosperity so that the younger generation can breathe a life of hope.
One last question, Ambassador Balu. Would that not create a one-party state?
Those guys in America that they have the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, is that a one-party government?
No, two-party.
Two parties.
But if you win the whole legislature at one-party state.
Yeah. No, because such a time, such a condition. Are you listening to me? Such a time, such a condition. You are trying to change the country. You are trying to pass reform laws that it can move unhindered. You're trying to pass progressive national budgets that can go unhindered. You're trying to change fiscal policy, or political policy, foreign policy without hindrance. You want to hold the bull by the horn, practically speaking, and move the country forward. This can be done when you talk about the truth and reconciliation, when you talk about war crime code, when you talk about economic crime code, when you talk about youth employment, when you talk about the war against drugs. When you talk about all these things, reform, the judicial reform, when you talk about these things, that's when you really want that kind of a full, unambiguous, supportive legislature.
And you think VP Bwaka can lead in that process?
The government will lead in that process. Okay. And Cummings and the Ure and the Yombly and the Bwaka will all have a field day with our support in moving the country forward.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, we want to say,
Senator, when I'm in Liberia, I will definitely look for you. I like your passion and I like the energy that you carry. I love that. And this is your platform. You always welcome. And every time we call upon you, you always here. So it's good having you
Invite those
again.
people from the party. It'll be a good
Yes,
thing.
yes, we will.
Yeah, surely
Definitely.
we're gonna
Yeah.
take we're gonna take that chance to get
Yeah.
to the hierarchy of the ANC, the hierarchy of the UP, and
And if you
we've
can
already
get Ambassador Boaka, Mr. Cummings, and Ure and Yombli, put them on your
yeah
platform.
we've
Invite
already
them. That
had
is
Tiawan
declining.
or Councillor Tiawan Gonglo here once, and so we'll
Invite
try to get to reach to them. But we want to say thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for your effort. And you know, to be frank, I got to Honorable Balu yesterday, just yesterday, and he said yes. And so I really want to commend you for that, because not a lot of people want to, you know, respond to short notice. So thank you very much, and always count on us, and we will count on you in this effort. I mean, despite all of the questions we're asking, we're all looking for the best for Liberia. But how?
right.
You know, there's a saying that it's not difficult to circumcise the cobra, but who's going to hold a head? Because that's the most difficult part. So I think we all making headways. So thanks a lot, and thank you, Saros. You know, and it's just amazing that, because this morning I was like, okay, I got two people coming on the show, and Paul just returned from Liberia. Whether he'll be in much energy to come and help, and then all of a sudden we had a full blown house. So it was great, and so we want to say thank you to all of you. Your contributions will be remembered in this process. Churchill once said, "Don't let a question be asked, where were you during the great people's uprising?" And this time is not this one.
Senator Balu, how can I get your contact?
Linfa will give it.
Okay, I'll get it from Linfa.
On social media, man.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. Please
Thanks
extend
a lot. You know, we know it's late in Liberia, and you know, we'll burn your data. We'll burn your data.
Thank you for the invitation.
Senator Balu, it's always good talking to you, and I really applaud your effort. For the country. I thought when we last talked on the show, I didn't get a chance to let you know that some of us are appreciative of your efforts.
Yeah,
Thank you.
doing well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening.
And happy Easter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We should.
Okay, so guys, that's it. It was good having the senator, and I think we did a good job all together, every one of us. So
Liver, we have been developing our show. Have you guys not even follow us, man?
no, but our other show, I think 2 days ago, the last one you had with that or Chirum, I know Chirum Verdia or one of Verdia.
Yeah, we're still working on the technology, but we'll have time so you guys can join the show, my man, to discuss issues about Liberia. You know, the platform is a little different.
I watching for some time.
Yeah, the last time you spoke about it, but I don't know you guys started already. So
no, he's been on. He's been I think
okay.
3 or 4 times.
This Sunday will be our 9th edition. This Sunday is one. So I'm gonna share the link again to you guys. We're talking about civil aviation in Liberia this week. Next week we're talking about maritime. Live for you guys. Be one of the guests.
Maritime, they call me, but you go say that I just said I know. But anyway,
civil aviation, business in Liberia. We'll bring the people who operate in there. Okay, most of the guys who are actually in the industry in Liberia are reluctant because they don't want the government to get after them. So we normally go after the people who were there before. To discuss this. So Paul, I will send you the link, Paul, so you can join and share it.
Okay. Now I'll love to. So you're talking about civil aviation at the airport construction. Maybe y'all want to.
I need to bring you on Sunday. So send me your email address.
Okay, will do. Yeah.
Yeah, send me your email address. I will send you the talking points and then send you the link.
Okay. Well, it's good, man. It's good.
Keep on the good work, man. Live for.
Okay, man.
Yeah,
thanks a lot, man. I checked my messenger when I saw. I said, wait, let me bring the man up quick before he get busy.
I got a heads up. I got a alert. As you know, let me join Live for and discuss a few things. But the reality is that whole unity thing is not going to happen. Balu made a good point about losing on the representative seats. I think that look, the people should talk. We're not going to have one ticket as president and vice president because you can't impose that on Cummings and his people as though there's an entitlement for Boakai. And apart from that, from the governance perspective, just think about it. There's no guarantee that you have because the reason why these guys short-circuited the CPP process is because people behind Boakai were not prepared to consider the possibility that Cummings would be the head of the ticket. And naturally, there are reasons for that because they don't know Cummings like that. So they figure also if they kind of may be president, we will finish. Then that you will be one of them too.
Yeah.
So if there's a way that they can find to cooperate on other things while each of the persons run and there's no bad blood among them, so that if one person succeed to be in the second round, it will be easier for you to talk to to each other, then that will be fine. But for you to force that issue and say, "Oh, people must just agree to one man," it's not happening. I mean, people cross the road already.
The whole thing spoiled from the start when the people refused to go to the primaries, because this would have been the shortest cut. But when they refused, that's
you're right. What Senator Balu said here, because if you look at it, say for example in Nima County District 3, if they pick one person against it all, because we all don't have the resources, they carry the person of District 3 as a representative, or you know what I'm talking about? That alone, they have a chance. But something Balu strike here, and people need to consider it. Because instead of 10 person, you narrow it, and the best person among them that have the thing that will be the best person to go in the house, they rather run that person.
I think Paul, you remember on this show a few weeks ago, we discussed something about opposition unity, but not in line with selecting a presidential candidate. What we talk about, there are a lot of things that the opposition could unite on. For example, even this case that is in a court with the ANC, with the CPP and NEC. Okay, opposition could unite because it affects the entire opposition bloc. Or the entire
that case is not a good case. That case didn't make sense. I discussed it with Cummings then. They're just trying to backfire on it. They are raising an issue before the Supreme Court that the Elections Commission should halt the registration process and inculcate the census of 2022 as part of the processes going towards the elections, right? Guess what? There is a law in the new election laws. I'll send a link to you as chapter 4, 1, and 3 that says for you to use the census in the elections, the census has to be published at least 1 year before the election. So I don't know whether the lawyer and the order did a research. So that means the Elections Commission is under no obligation to use that census results. They will have to go with the old way because the census results came in less than 1 year before the election. So the argument that they should go by the census and think is not valid.
But the census, I thought even the census is not accurate. How would they go with that?
Whatever the case, even if the census not accurate or not, that's another debate. But if the people have certified, the government that is in place has said the census is the census, then because the census is not only for elections, the census for other economic decisions, demographics. But Article 80 in the Constitution say once the census is done, the legislature using the new population census will redemarcate districts.
Exactly.
Allotting constituencies based on a 20,000 citizens to a district, or what is expedient for the legislature. Even the 20,000 don't make sense right now because, say for example, when you look at the census result, Mascherano got almost 1 million or more persons. Yeah. So by that logic, if you take 20,000 out of 1 million, that's almost 20 seats.
Yes.
You don't have 20 seats. You don't have 20 seats in the Constitution. Say the representative seat cannot pass 100. So you don't have that. So that means they will have to go and legislate and readjust the 20,000 citizens to maybe 50 or whatever will be expedient. My point is, they have not done that yet. So they cannot use that to govern the election that is set for October, especially where in the election laws, it says for you to use that figure, you have to do it within 12 months before the elections.
So automatically, they're going to go back to the old stuff that we've been holding up to.
Well, I raised the issue with Mr. Cummings. I said, but we're not using our resources well. Here you say, oh, Nibali Warner, our lawyer, and this, that means they're lazy. They're not reading the laws. Because this is not a case that we should be pursuing. So the way they're trying to rephrase it now is, oh, but the Elections Commission so explain to us what they're doing. If the laws are on the books, who should explain the law to you?
Your lawyers.
The lawyers.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Wow.
I think we did it, and so we like to say thank you to you, Cyrus, and also to Paul. And the time is fast spent. We must be leaving. Paul, take us home with something, and we'll be back here on Friday.
Yeah, it's good. Saros, let's talk after
Yeah,
this.
man.
And
Getting back to you, but Paul, send me your contact, man. Please don't forget.
yes, I'll do that. I'll do that. So, although Senator Balu feared that the Rudy establishment will go back, I just came from the ground. It's not looking too good,
No,
and
we're not going to have.
it's not looking too good for the Rudy establishment. So people should not have that fear. They just need to do the hard work, encourage people, and the people themselves to making the case. So the confusion now is the propaganda that people run with. They must be number one, number two. That was CDC propaganda from the start, and this is what all of them running with. So I think it's something that people need to then decide. The two people run, and then in the end, the people decide who to take on. And
Paul, let me ask you one question. If everybody's saying that Baga got a number, why does he need comments?
exactly, that's the point. You have the number, go and run. And what I've seen on the ground, the movement, Cummings is moving, and people don't know. They say, oh, they have the number. The old man is sitting down, they have the number. Even Taiwan is moving that people not even aware of. He says doing some serious groundwork. They think will shock people that the people who they think get a number may not even go to the second round. I'll leave it like that.
Yep.
So on that note, I will leave this good message from Mr. Cummings, a little vision for Liberia, for those who listening to us and people will watch it later. So it's just ABC vision. I just just a little clip what he tend to do for Mama Liberia. So guys, yeah, we have somebody that will change Liberia. So I will leave us with this one.
5 priorities we have, and we call that the what. And then there are 5 things we call the how we'll do it. And those priorities are as follows. Our first priority is infrastructure. Simply put, is electricity, it's roads, it's water, and it's internet and cell phone connectivity across Liberia. We have to invest in infrastructure. That is the top priority. That's the basis on which we can and will do everything else. The second priority for us is job creation. There are too many unemployed, underemployed, and unemployable Liberians. The unemployment rate is over 85%. And therefore, job creation is our next priority, creating jobs for the Liberian people. So after job creation, our next priority is agriculture. We are a country, after 170 years, that do not feed ourselves. Last year alone, we imported over 160 million United States dollars in rice import, and total food imports was over $280 million. These are things we can do for ourselves. We should be producing rice to feed ourselves, and my commitment is that by the end of my first term in office, we will be self-sufficient in rice production. And within education, we are focused on vocational training, teachers training, and adult education. But we have to educate our young people because, again, that's how we can help them create jobs. That's how we can train farmers. And so these things are all linked together. And our final priority in terms of the what's is health. Because you can have good infrastructure, you can have a good job, you can feed yourself, you can have great education, but if you don't have your health, it doesn't matter. And so health is our 5th priority, and there we're focused on primary health care and preventive health care. So those are the what's we'll